Alright, hello everyone. My name is Ved, and welcome to this tier list where I'm going to be rating rather quickly, but explaining why I rate all the guns and weapons in Stalker Anomaly in their respective spots. So we're going to start off with the melee weapons, then we're going to go to all the pistols, then all the shotguns, all the SMGs, rifles, sniper rifles, explosives, and I'm not going to rate the attachments themselves. I am going to rate the guns depending on the attachments they have. But yeah, let's go straight into melee. So first off, the axes, super underrated. They're awesome. This hunting axe is getting S tier for sure. It deals the most damage out of all of them. It doesn't weigh that much. This one deals less, and this one deals even less, but it still hurts like a tank. So both of these are getting S minus. Well, this one gets the S because this one is just too heavy, and this one isn't all that great. But it's still an S minus because it's still a great weapon. It's just not as amazing as you'd wish it to be. So you can use them one-handed, and with this you can pretty much one-shot anything. That is a Stalker, so that's pretty good. The 6H4 bayonet, so this is one of the two starting knives. You can start with either this or that. This one is gonna get B tier because it doesn't chop thick-skinned mutants. It one-shots most Stalkers, same with this one if you hit them in the back and in the head, but it weighs less. And it honestly just feels like pretty decent half, so it's going to be B tier. Well, this one does the exact same thing, and it's going to be B minus tier. Obviously, you're going to look to replace them ASAP, but this one just weighs too much, while this one weighs less. And of course, weight's very important, so this is getting B minus. In terms of the better knives, we have the hunting knife, which is going to get a B plus because it can loot the thick skin mutants, so that's already a huge upgrade. It's pretty easy to get, though I'm not going to put that into consideration. I am going to put the ammo that the weapons use into consideration for sure, but not their actual availability. I'm not going to put that in consideration. But yeah, this one pretty easy to get. B plus deals a bit more damage than these ones, but not that significant. But it's good. It weighs a bit too much, but that's fine. This one's going to get a B plus as well. Deals a bit more damage, but weighs a bit too much. So it's still good, but it's not that amazing. And the M9 bayonet is going to get an S minus because it's still a knife. You know, it doesn't have that much reach, but it chops pretty well. It deals a ton of damage, and it is quite light as well. So it's going to get the A minus spot. So for pistols, and there's a lot of them here. For starters, we're gonna go with the APS. If you want a 9x18 pistol, there's a few options for sure. The APS is not the best one, but it's a decent one if you want to go for like automatic fire stuff. I'm gonna have to put it in like let's shoot it for a bit, so we can get a bit of a test run on it. But yeah, the APS, you can do automatic fire. It's gonna recoil a ton. It's not very accurate at all, but it feels nice. You know, it feels nice to have. I'm probably just gonna put it in like B tier because it's really not a good gun, but it's not terrible either. So it's gonna go B tier. Yeah, but you have better options. So the Beretta 92F. Also, we have a ton of variations. I'm gonna just talk about them in mostly just like the base one, but I will mention the variations as well. They're mostly just going to be like a tiny bit better. The Beretta 92F is honestly not that good. It generally isn't. It looks good. It feels good to use, but it doesn't aim that good. It doesn't have good accuracy, but it has 15 round magazines, so that's always nice. But it's generally not that nice of a pistol. It doesn't have the great accuracy that you want out of a pistol like this. And sure, you don't need sniper rifle accuracy, but you want to hit those headshots in those situations. And the accuracy this has is just a bit underwhelming. So it's going to go into just B plus, but it's a good pistol. These ones are generally just going to be like a tiny bit better, especially on the accuracy. I think the camouflaged one has the best accuracy, but yeah, it's just a B plus pistol. The Colt M1911 is going to be worse. Also, this fires 9x19, which is a pretty decent caliber, so that's taken in consideration here, B plus. The Colt M19 M1911 is honestly very overrated. It's this legendary gun, and it has like fucking 9 variations, but they kind of just aren't that good. I think the Merc one might be the best in terms of the accuracy, but this thing is inaccurate as hell. It's kind of heavy. It only has a 7 round magazine size, and it fires 45 ACP, which in my opinion, sucks ass. Genuinely, it sucks ass. It does feel good to use, though. It feels like meaty as well. But this is gonna get. This is probably gonna get like a C plus tier. Yeah, I can't give it any higher than a C plus because it's really not good enough to go into B tier. It just sucks on the accuracy and the 7 round magazine size. It's disgusting for a gun like this. You can't have that in Stalker. It's not gonna work. This one is not available. The CZ52 is actually the most accurate pistol. It's really freaking good. It's insane on the accuracy and it's insane on the recoil. I'm gonna show you that real quick. So you can see it has like no freaking recoil and its accuracy is pretty much wherever you aim it, which is really freaking nice. So if you're good with this pistol, like if this pistol had a high magazine size and the ammo wasn't so trash, this would maybe even go into an S tier as a pistol. But unfortunately, this pistol suffers from having an 8 magazine size, which sucks, and it also suffers from having 7.62 by 25 as its main ammo. It's also a bit heavy for what it is, so that's really the only downsides. But otherwise, very nice pistol to have, very accurate, very good recoil. It feels great. So look at it. It's the running animation makes it screws it up. But yeah, I'm gonna put it into A minus. That's what I can give it. See, up next we have the CZ75, and honestly, this is kind of like the Beretta, but just a tiny bit better. It has a bit more accuracy than the Beretta does. So the Beretta we put into B minus, right? So this one I'm just gonna put in. Wait, no, we put it into B plus, didn't we? Yeah, we're gonna put CZ75 most likely into just probably an A minus. Yeah, probably an A minus because it definitely feels nice as a pistol. It has this awesome thing of like being able to come out like really quick, so that's nice. And in terms of the reload, it's just about normal, actually kind of fast. But yeah, good accuracy. The iron sights look nice on it. It's gonna go into an A minus. Of course, they're pistols, so pistols kind of suck by default. But I'm not gonna put them all into like D tier or whatever because they have their own use, right? If you want to use 9x19, this is the thing. If you want to like poke a corner and you have your sniper rifle on the other round, like this is good. This feels good to use. It's nice to use, and it is quite helpful as well. So up next, we have the CZ75 automatic, which is pretty much the same thing in terms of accuracy and everything else, but it just has insane rate of fire. I think it's the best rate of fire weapon, actually. It goes completely crazy on it, and it's a bit unnecessary, but I do believe that this weapon is just going to be a lot better in terms of actually not damaging your weapon, because weapons that are automatic will take away less durability than weapons that are like bolt action or whatever for every shot that they take. So this is gonna lower your durability a lot less if you just use it as a single shot and you use it as pretty much the same thing as the CZ75. Also, it looks awesome. It looks very sci-fi-ish with that thing. So I'm gonna put it into probably A plus. Probably A plus. It's a very nice pistol. So yeah, up next we have the Deagle, and sadly, the Deagles aren't that good. The custom one is actually decent because it has very decent accuracy. You know, this one's just terrible on the accuracy. This one's terrible on the accuracy, but this Deagle is at least decent on the accuracy. The ammo that it fires is honestly kind of rare, so and expensive as well for some bizarre reason, and it weighs a ton. It does deal a decent amount of damage, and the ammo for it, I believe, has 2A pen, right? No, it has 2 pen. Okay, so that's a bit better than I thought. But yeah, it's not that good. It feels good to use. It definitely feels meaty, but if you're going to go with a pistol that's this heavy and only has 9 rounds, I mean, you're just better off just getting a freaking shotgun than using this, you know? It's not really that worthwhile. So I'm gonna put the Deagles into probably just a B minus tier. But I mean, they're the only weapons that use 357, so they're under revolver, right? But we'll get to that later. Alright, so if you only have 357, they're still fine. It's a B minus. The Step Eagle is pretty much the same thing, except it has the little dotted sight on it. It doesn't really help that much because the accuracy on this is still garbage. So it's also going to go into B minus. Okay, up next we have the FNF57. This might be one of the rarest finds that you can get in the zone, but it's actually really good. Yeah, it's a genuinely nice pistol. Problem is that the ammo for it is insanely rare, but and the gun itself is even rarer. Not that it matters, but it has a 20 round magazine size and it has generally good accuracy while also being pretty light. It also sounds good, so that's nice. So I'm gonna put it into A tier. It's a pretty decent weapon. Up next, we have the FNP45, and this might be the only gun that's like 45 SCP that I might actually tolerate. Because, I mean, you have a lot of variations of it. You have the custom, then you have the FNX45s, which are going to be a bit different. The difference is that this has a bit less accuracy, but it has that dot on the side, right? And also has the built-in suppressor. So it's cool, but they're super freaking heavy for what they are. And they fire 45 ACP. They do have a good magazine size, but overall, they're just decent. They're just decent. If you want a 45 ACP firing pistol, this is the way to go. But they're definitely not special by any means. I don't love these weapons. I'm just gonna put them into B tier. Although the sights on the FNP 45 are pretty cool, I'll give it that. So the 417 is actually a pistol that I've been using a lot recently, and it fires 9x18. I can put a suppressor on it as well, which is pretty good. Not all these pistols you can put suppressors on, but you can on this one. Right from the get go, and it's not very accurate. It only has a 12 magazine size, but it fires 9x18, and it fires it semi reliably, and it's kind of light, so it feels like just a very basic pistol. It's like a Makarov, except it's actually not trash. So the 417 is just going to go into B tier. Well, more like B minus. Yeah, it's going to go into B minus. So this is the same thing. The Glock 19 is definitely one of my favorites, and you have a few variations of it, which I'll mention in a second. It feels very nice to use. The gun feels very controllable. It feels very reliable. It sounds good. The ammo for it is good. The accuracy for it is very good for a pistol. It has 17 magazine size. This is exactly what you want in a pistol. And the only downside it might have is the iron sights not being that amazing. But overall, it's got to be an A minus pistol, which is pretty much the best thing that a pistol can get. So yeah, in terms of the variations, you have two of them. You have one that lets you go on just full auto, and you have the other one which just gives you a bit more accuracy. They're both great. They're both still an A minus. The Gush 18 is kind of it's like a Glock, except it's Soviet, right? It's honestly not that great as a weapon. I'll be honest, because it's mostly just the sights that just look horrible on it. The sights just don't look that great, but it has 18 rounds. It has good accuracy. It has good fire rate. It just doesn't look good to me, but it's still a good weapon. So it's probably gonna go into B plus because I mean it's generally decent. I can't give it any worse than that. The custom I believe just has a bit more accuracy. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it's good. The Browning High Power is actually one that I really like. There's two versions. It's sadly not that great because it's kind of heavy and kind of inaccurate. So it's definitely worse than a Glock, but the iron sights on it look awesome, and the sounds of it look good. It feels good to use. It's just kind of inaccurate, kind of heavy, and it has a 13 round space, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. Anything that's above like 11, anything that's above 11 is perfectly okay for a pistol, because this is your sidearm, right? This is the kind of thing that you use when you're either in close quarters combat, or trying to shoot down the mutant. And in those situations, you don't want to have to be reloading all the time. So having more magazine size is always better. So that's going to go into probably just B minus because the accuracy, it really could be a bit better. So yeah, up next we have, where is it? Where were we? Oh yeah, up next we have the freaking. Wait, we're at 14 minutes already. Oh Jesus Christ! Okay, this is gonna be way longer than I thought. Or we're not even through the pistols, man. Jesus Christ. Okay, the yeah, there's just so many freaking weapons. I have no idea how I ever thought this is gonna be quick. Yeah, the revolver jams, which it shouldn't. It's a revolver. It shouldn't jam, but it does. It's honestly just kind of like a deagle, except a bit worse. Because it has less magazine size and it has worse accuracy, but it's lighter, and it's cool because it's the only revolver, right? So I mean, it's gonna go into B minus. It's not great, not terrible. The MP443 Grak is a lot like the Gush 18. Not that special. It's a decent pistol. Nothing amazing, nothing terrible. We can't give it more than like a B tier. And it's a lot like it is a lot like the Gush 18. It's a decent pistol, but definitely not a Glock. I feel it feels a bit worse for me than a Glock. At least in terms of the feel, but it's a nice pistol to have. The OTS 33 Parnac is basically the APS but better. So this is just gonna do a lot more than an APS is gonna do for you. For starters, the draw of it feels nice. It feels kind of quick, feels kind of slick. It has a 27 round magazine size, which is awesome. The iron sights on it suck. Has no attachments. It fires 9x18. It goes crazy, and you know it's extremely inaccurate, obviously, but you can fire it just like that if you want. Also, let me reduce the sound before my neighbors come on. But yeah, it's not a bad pistol by any means. Yeah, it just fires 9x18, but if you want a 9x18 firing pistol that's just gonna spam, this is definitely the way to go. So I'm gonna put it at a B plus tier. Hopefully I'm not getting shot at for exploding stuff. I don't think I am. So the PB, it's generally not that good. Shadow of Chernobyl, probably like one of the coolest pistols. In Anomaly, it's just way too inaccurate, way too heavy, and suppressors are good, but having them built in kind of limits your possibilities a lot, actually, because sometimes you want to use the pistol to make some noise, because the ammo for it is cheap. So having the built-in suppressor is not that great. It's kind of heavy, and it's just a Makarov, but with a suppressor on it. That's way too heavy for it should be. So it's going to go into C plus tier. The Makarov itself is going to go into C tier because it's extremely inaccurate. 8 magazine size. The ammo for it, it just doesn't make up for it at all. It's not even that light. It's 0.7. It really just sucks. It's going to go into C tier. It's quite literally just a terrible pistol. The recall on it is not that good either. Very inaccurate. Trash. Garbage. Take it out as quick as you can. Up next, the PM Custom and the PMM. They're both like just a little bit better. I mean, okay, the PMM is actually a fair bit better. It's more like a Fort 17 in terms of the accuracy, in terms of the magazine size, but the PM Custom still sucks, so it's still going to go into C tier. And the PMM can probably go into B minus tier. It's still firing that same trash caliber, and it still has bad fire rate and bad recoil, but at least it has a 12 magazine size and a bit more accuracy, so it's going to go into B minus. Up next, we have the SIG P20, and this pistol kind of sucks. It's for the same reasons that the Colt M1911 sucks. It has only a 7 magazine size. It's inaccurate. It's heavy, and you know it feels good to use, right? It feels chunky, but honestly, this pistol and its variants just not that good. So I'm gonna put it into probably just C plus as well. Yeah, probably just C plus. The custom is probably a bit better. The Alpine, yeah, right. The Alpine isn't the one I was thinking of. It's still the same thing, just 7 round magazine size. It's really not what I look for in a pistol. Of course, maybe if this is your thing, then you know it's your thing. But I can't give it any more than a C plus. It's not good. So the TT-33 is basically, what if we made the CZ-52 terrible? Very inaccurate, fires the same trash round, 8 magazine size. This thing sucks ass. It generally does. At least the modern one looks cool. It looks like with this slick black. So, that's very good, I suppose, if you want the fashion for it. So that's nice. So this one, out of just the fashion, is going to get a B minus. All this one gets a C plus. They're not that good. So the USB-45 is basically like the SIG P20, except it's better because it has a bit more accuracy and weighs less, and it has a 12 magazine size. So it's decent, but it feels very chunky as a weapon to use, and I don't mean chunky in a good way. It doesn't feel that great to me, at least. But it's not a bad pistol whatsoever. It's going to go into B tier, just standard B tier pistol. Very good for 45 ACP at the very least. Its upgrades, it has a few upgrades. The custom one's going to have a bit more accuracy, but it's still going to stay a B tier. Then you have the match and you have the march. Actually, are these? I don't think this one exists. I think only the march one exists. But yeah, the march one fires 9x19, and this one, yeah, okay, yeah, this one comes from Nimble or the Meeker guy. In the outskirts, you can get it from them by putting in an order, and it fires 9x19 rather than firing 45 SCP. It feels pretty decent. Has a 15 magazine size, right? It has decent accuracy. It's generally a nice gun. I can't say anything bad about it apart from the look being a bit drastic in terms of changes, and still feels a bit chunky, but yeah, not a bad pistol. Probably just gonna go into, well, yeah, probably just gonna go into B tier, maybe even B plus if I want to be generous, but probably just B tier. Up next we have, this might be even worse than Makarov, but yeah, this is a C tier weapon. For sure. The Walter P. Actually, this might even. No, no, no. At least the Macro fires 9x18, and you don't have too many choices there. This one fires 9x19. But yeah, it has a 16 magazine size, so no, I can't give it worse than like a C tier. Problem is just the accuracy. I mean, it doesn't feel that terrible to use. Let's be honest. Let's give it a C plus tier for that magazine size. But yeah, the accuracy on this sucks. I don't like the way it looks personally. It really just accuracy sucks. So yeah. C plus. And this one's the same. Trash. Okay. Straight into shotguns. MP153. Very cool, very underrated shotgun. It feels nice to use. It reloads very cutely. I can't. I need to bring out the ammo to reload it. So let's get some of it. So yeah, you fire a lot of it, and then you reload like this, one by one, so you can reload twice, you can keep going, you can do something of the likes, and it just feels like a pretty decent shotgun to use. Definitely not a late game shotgun, but it's a very good shotgun that's in between the bad ones and the good ones. So it's gonna stay right at B tier, where I don't know, probably B plus tier where it belongs. Yeah, because it's a bit more accurate than what a B tier shotgun would be, and it feels good. It feels good. 8-round magazine size, reloads relatively quickly. Just a nice shotgun. So yeah. Up next, we have the Arm Cell Protector, and this is going to include all the variations for it, pretty much. This one doesn't exist. But yeah, you can't freaking disassemble the other ones, which is weird. You can't disassemble this gun. Which feels very odd, but I mean, that might be a downside, but yeah. In terms of the Arm Cell Protector, it's gonna get probably the same thing, probably a B tier, even though I don't like it as much, because it's kind of like the other shotgun, except it has more spread. It's more for shorter range than the other shotgun is, and it fires pretty good. It has a 12-round magazine size, which is nice, but the reload on it is abysmally slow. I mean abysmally slow. You're gonna spend 2 days reloading this shit. So yeah, that's really the biggest problem I have with it. It's also kind of heavy. For the caliber of shotgun it is, for the level of shotgun it is, but it's gonna go into B tier. It's not bad whatsoever. Just a decent shotgun to have. The Mossberg 590A1 is gonna go into B minus tier because it feels good pulling out. It feels good shooting. and it reloads kind of quickly, but this gun just seems to have some problem, man. I don't know what it is, but it just seems to do zero fucking damage. Like, I don't get what the problem with it is, but it just doesn't do damage. I hate it because of it. It's gonna go into B minus. It's not as good as the other shotguns. So the TALS 194 is gonna go into probably B minus as well, like that one. It's a bit worse because of the way it reloads and because of the way it feels as well, and having a 7 magazine size rather than 8. But it's still just one of those middle of the tier shotguns. That's not great, not terrible. So yeah, all of them can fire, I think there's a shotgun that with some upgrade it can only fire like buckshot. I mean, it cannot fire buckshot, so that upgrade's gonna suck because buckshot's pretty much the only caliber that's good. But yeah, this is gonna go into B minus. Up next we have this Pass 12. A lot of people like this shotgun. I don't. I hate the way it looks. It's decent on the way it shoots. It's very good on the reload, but it's just gonna be a B plus shotgun. Yeah, it's not gonna be any more than a B plus shotgun. Only has 8-round magazine size. Still reloads kind of manually like the other ones. Very inaccurate. So not that amazing, but B plus is not bad to get whatsoever. So the Remington 870, if I remember correctly, yeah, this shotgun feels a lot like the Mossberg, but it's slightly better. So I'm gonna put it into B plus as well. It feels better, and I'm pretty sure the reload on it is pretty much the exact same. Yeah, I'm gonna put it at B plus. Once again, another one of these 8-round shotguns that just feels decently good to use. So yeah, 8-round, B plus. Of course, these shotguns are all great. Having a shotgun compared to not having a shotgun is a huge difference. Pretty much all shotguns are not going to get any worse than like a C plus. But yeah, that one's going to get a B. Right, or no, I put it in B plus. So the Saiga, my beloved. So this is gonna get an S plus. Like, I'm trying to do this without bias, right? But the reason I love this gun isn't because it looks cool or isn't because I personally love it. It's because it's awesome. I mean, look at this. Look at this, right? It just feels great to shoot. It has 10-round magazine size, deals a ton of damage, is light, very light for a shotgun like this. You can put a lot of attachments on it, basically one of the 3 scopes, which I usually put the Cobra on it, and you can put a suppressor on it if you really want to have a suppressed shotgun. And on top of that, it reloads very quickly as well for a shotgun like this. So yeah, 10 rounds, and boom, it's right back on and ready to just kick ass. So very good shotgun. Gonna go into S plus. Just absolutely awesome thing to have. Definitely one of the best weapons in Anomaly. So up next we have the Spaz variants, which are pretty much the same thing. We have the TALS 34 Bison. So the TALS 34 Bison is a bit of a weird one because it has this huge scope, and you think like, oh, this might be great, right? But no, this thing still has terrible accuracy, and it might sound good to use this to snipe mutants or something with buckshot or with slugs, or rather a slugs or birdshot. But it's not good because slugs and birdshot suck. So it's not going to be worthwhile to do that when those calibers freaking suck. So yeah, it's not that good. It just feels like a TALS 34, except it has this stupid freaking scope on it. Of course, you need it to simp for hip, but it kind of just sucks. So it's going to go into C+. Yeah, it's really not that good. If you get it, you're just going to give it to hip. So yeah, that's the idea. Up next we have the TALS 66, so I'm gonna rate it alongside TALS 34. These are 2 pretty good shotguns. They both have pretty much like instant fire rate. After the first shot, they can instantly fire the second. They're surprisingly accurate for the kind of gun that they are, for being this old shotgun. They're actually pretty freaking accurate, but they only have a 2-round magazine, so that's not a magazine. But yeah, they can only fire 2 rounds at a time before you need to reload, and the reload on it is pretty much identical, which is kind of slow for the kind of gun that it is. Yeah, I would respect it a bit more if it were easier to do, like fire and then swap and then fire again. But the problem with these guns is that they take a pretty long time to go down and come back up. So you can't really do that as well as you'd think you could. So having that two round limit is really gonna suck if you have like 3 bores coming at you. So that's really, really, really gonna suck. So that's really holding this gun down. So it's gonna have to go into C plus. Still good. Definitely still cool shotguns, but they're not good. They're not that good. You definitely want to replace them ASAP. Up next, we have the USAS 12, and this shotgun might look like the best in the game because, I mean, it's automatic, has a 20-round drum magazine. Like, what? It's kind of accurate, and you immediately reload all those 20 rounds kind of quickly as well. And, I mean, yeah, all that is true, but you kind of don't need something to be an automatic. Here's the thing, automatic guns kind of suck in they kind of suck under most circumstances in Anomaly. Having controlled fire is better because, for one, you save ammo, and secondly, if you have enhanced recoil, which you should have for a good gaming experience, the second shot after the first one is going to go haywire. So having something being automatic is not really as good as having something being wait, did I okay, now we're good, as having something being not automatic but still fire quickly. That's what you want to have. So yeah, overall, the real thing that's holding this down is the weight and the accuracy. It weighs way too much for a shotgun, which is by itself a sidearm usually. But if you want to just have just a shotgun, then this might be the thing for you. If you want to roleplay just being like freaking Terminator, then this is the thing for you. It's pretty decent. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in S minus. It's a very, very, very good shotgun. Kind of rare to get, but that's fine. The Vapor 12 hammer is pretty much just a Saiga, but supposedly better. I don't find it to be better myself. Honestly, I don't find it to be better. I find it to be kind of just like the Saiga, except I'm not as attached to it as I would be the Saiga, but it's still just an awesome shotgun, so it's gonna go into S tier. Not S plus, just S tier. Up next, we have the Fort 500, and this is one of these middle-of-the-line shotguns that's actually bad. The charges, it's terrible. It only has 6 round limit, and the reload on it is just about average, but I mean, it's just gonna go into B minus. Having only 6 and looking terrible, also kind of inaccurate, not that good. B minus is what you get. The MP133 is gonna get B plus, mostly because it's kind of like the other one, but it actually looks good and feels a bit nicer to use personally. So it's gonna go into B tier. But once again, one of those shotguns that you're just gonna want to upgrade ASAP. We've already gone through the TAS 194, and now we have the sawed-off shotguns, which are pretty much the same as these ones, but they're just going to go into C tier because they lose the kind of surprising accuracy that the TAS 34 and TAS 66 get, and they replace it with really just nothing of value other than being lighter, which being lighter is good, right? Being lighter is good, but this thing still draws as quick as the other one. So even though it's light, it doesn't feel light, and that's bad. That's definitely bad. You want something to draw quickly. Also, hello, Freedomers. So yeah, not that good. It's gonna go into C tier. You definitely want to replace it ASAP. Alright, that's all the shotguns dealt with. So now let's go into SMGs, which is really just a very sorry place to be in, but let's do it anyway. So first, the PP-19 Bison. It's actually kind of decent. Yeah, it's actually kind of decent because you can put some upgrades on it. You can put the PS1 on it. You can put the suppressor, and I think you can even put. No, that's all you can do. But yeah, it feels very odd to use a scope like this on the gun that fires 9x18 on an SMG that fires 9x18, and it's definitely gonna miss like most of the shots. It's not gonna go where you're aiming though, pretty much. But at like a close range, kind of like this. Yeah, kind of like this. It should hit pretty much all of the time. So that's okay. It has a huge magazine size, and the accuracy on it, if you try to spam, isn't that good. But yeah, isn't that good. But it feels good. Feels like a decent weapon to use. And for 9x18, this is genuinely a lot better than you'd think you'd get as an SMG for a 9x18. So it's gonna go into probably just B plus because of the attachments that it can get. So yeah, it goes into B plus. Up next, we have the MP5, and now depending on the MP5, it actually makes a huge difference because a lot of the MP5s are a lot different. So the custom one is definitely the better one, but the problem with the MP5s, and this is just a huge problem that just plagues SMGs, which is the fact that they're supposed to be light, right? They're supposed to be light weapons that you just have as a sidearm, or you know, you have a sniper rifle, then you have an SMG, but really the big problem with them is that once you try putting any upgrades on them, unlike pistols, upgrades on the SMGs actually increase your weight. On pistols they don't, but on the SMGs, like every other weapon and outfit, each upgrade increases your weight by 0.1 kilograms, which on an SMG, which is supposed to be light, is not good. Once you have your MP5 fully kitted out, you have like a, I don't know, like your fucking bar skull on it, and you have a suppressor on it, this thing is going to weigh like 5 kilograms and a half, which you can't have. That's heavier than an AK, which you could be having and just firing a rifle round, which is going to be a lot better. And it weighs 3 kilograms by default, which is still just way too heavy when you could very well just use a Glock, which is more accurate and still has an insane fire rate. So the MP5 is sadly not a good weapon. Very sadly, the MP5A3 custom is better because it looks better and it also feels more accurate than the other ones do. At least the gun feels controllable, so it has that going for it, but generally not that great of a weapon as it could be. If it weren't for those attachment issues, it increasing the weight, then this gun would be a lot better. But as it is, I can't give it any higher than a B minus, and this one a B plus. The Fraser one fires 45 ACP, which basically just makes it a UMP 45. So I'm gonna give it the same rating that I'm gonna give the UMP 45 in a bit. So yeah, but it feels nicer to use because at least it's not a UMP 45. But you know, it's yeah, I'm probably just gonna give it a B minus. So yeah, the MPS 5D6. These ones are kind of interesting because they're like MP5s but with built-in suppressors. They're nice. I don't think they look as good personally, but they're nice guns. Having a built-in suppressor is okay. It means you're not going to be able to attract enemies when you want to do it, but it's not bad. It's a bit lighter. So yeah, we're just going to put it in B tier. It's just a decent weapon for what it is, honestly. It's not bad whatsoever. So yeah, the PP2000 is interesting. I've hardly ever used this gun, I'll be honest with you. I've hardly ever used this gun. I've used it a couple times. I remember it being kind of like just meh. Not really something that special, but it feels light at least. It looks very light. It doesn't look accurate. It fires 9x19 with 30 rounds. Honestly, just feels like a B tier weapon. Maybe B plus if the upgrades on it are good. Let me have a quick look at that. You can make it 9x18. You get 20 accuracy. Okay, that's pretty good. Lots of upgrades to get on it. No minus weight upgrade though, so that's not that nice. You can put just the usual attachments. It's either going to be B plus or B tier, but you know, not a bad shotgun, not that awesome either. It's SMG, sorry. So yeah, up next we have the P90, and the P90 is kind of you know, the problem with it is the ammo because you're never going to find this kind of ammo, and if you can buy it, it's super. Oh, it fires a ton. Yeah, if you can buy it, it's way more expensive than it has any right to be, but if it weren't for the ammo being so rare, it would be a very good SMG. Because I mean, look at the ammo capacity it has on it. Look at the fire rate. Look at the accuracy. Right, awesome. But if you look at the ammo, this ammo sucks. It's way too heavy. No, it's not way too heavy. This ammo isn't heavy. I don't think. No, it's heavy ammo actually, really light. And it has 3A pen, but it's rare. It's way too rare. And that means that you're pretty much never going to be able to restock on ammo as you're going on a big trip. So that sucks. You have to just bring a ton of ammo with you. You can put some upgrades on it. You can buy the ammo from some traders. I can't remember exactly which ones for this specific caliber, but Overall, I'm just gonna have to put it into B plus because it definitely seems to have some very good potential. It's just the ammo that's holding it down. So I'm gonna have to put maybe even B minus. Rather, maybe even A minus. Yeah, maybe even A minus. It's just really the ammo that's holding it down, sadly. Or else it would have the potential to be like actually just the best SMG. Like, it might still be the best SMG, honestly. We're not doing too good in terms of SMGs, but yeah. Up next, we have the MP7, and I personally don't like it. It seems very good because of the stats it has, but I personally don't like it. I feel like it doesn't feel as accurate as it says. I feel like the ammo magazine on it, the magazine size on it is good, definitely. 40 is definitely very good, but it doesn't feel as accurate as it says it is to me. It doesn't look good, but I can't give it any worse than a B plus because I mean it's gotta have that accuracy on the first shot, right? So on the first shot's gonna be very accurate. So yeah, it's gonna get a B plus. So I personally don't enjoy it. I personally don't like it. The MP45, the custom one's gonna get a B plus, a B tier, and the normal one's gonna get a B minus just because of the accuracy. But it's okay SMG. I don't like the way it looks personally, but it has a pretty low rate of fire, but that's perfectly fine considering the way that you shouldn't really just be spamming rounds left, right, and center. You should be trying to aim them. But it's a decent SMG, honestly. Probably you probably would be better off using the Fraser gun. So this probably just going to be in B tier, B minus, and B tier as well. So the BP VTS, I've used this one a couple times. I think it actually looks kind of cool. Personally, it feels decent to use. It sounds way too aggressive to be an SMG, honestly, but yeah, just the accuracy holding it down a bit. But it's gonna go into B tier. It doesn't feel that bad. You can put some interesting upgrades on it, so you're probably not gonna use this. Like, let's be honest, you're probably not gonna use this. If it had better accuracy, it would be a banger weapon, but it's kind of too heavy as well. So it's just gonna go into B tier. Now the Scorpions kind of just suck. Personally, I kind of just think they suck because they're not light enough to justify using over a pistol, and all they can fire automatically, their accuracy freaking sucks, and I don't like it. So yeah, they're not gonna get any more than probably probably C plus. Yeah, they're just gonna get a C plus. That's what they get. All of them, basically. They're all the same shit. So, okay, for rifles, here we go. This is when it gets fun. Also, yeah, when we get a lot of them. Okay, so the Mark 14 EBR, too heavy, it fires 7.62 by 51, which is generally a bad ammo type, unfortunately, because the normal ammo on it only has 3A pen, and it's so heavy as shit and expensive as shit. So yeah, unfortunately, having only 3A pen and having that insane amount of weight, just very, very bad ammo. But the gun itself, I suppose, is okay. You can put attachments on it, if I remember correctly. Yeah, you can put an ACOG and also the other scopes. So, it's kind of like a G3, but doesn't feel that good for me. Yeah, it's just a bit too heavy. So yeah, I'm just gonna put it into. Uh, it doesn't come in with a built-in scope. You can't put a suppressor on it. It's too heavy. It only has a 20 magazine size, and you can't really make use of that fire rate because of the way that the rounds are just gonna go. Wait, where is it? What? Wait, you can't use an automatic. Oh, right, right. It's the M14, right? Yeah. You can't really make use too much of that fire rate, but it's a decent weapon. I can't give it worse than a B tier. So yeah, it's gonna get a B tier. So now we have the PKM, the Zulu's PKM, and the PKP Pechenex. So this one's the best, just in terms of statistics. But in terms of how the PKMs work, and I might as well mention the RPD and the M249 saw while we're at this, which is the other LMG, which I can't find. Where the fuck is it? Where did I put it? I mean, not where did I put it, is where did it go? Oh, I don't know where it went. Where's the M249 saw? Well, am I blind? Okay, you know what? We'll find it when we get to it. Okay, there it is. Yeah. So in terms of the LMGs, so the PKM, the PKP Passionegg, and the Zulu's PKM all suffer from a terrible problem, which is the fact that the ammo that they fire is either that box ammo that you see, which is not that expensive and not that heavy, or they fire 7.62 by 54 AP. And now that's a sniper rifle round, which means that you get it at a very, very expensive price, which is absolutely not worth using on an LMG as the main thing that you can use. Now, another problem with these LMGs is that they're very heavy, but they do have 100 rounds on it. But it's just that they're very heavy and they're very costly to operate. But if you manage to get them operating and you manage to put them in a good situation, then they do a ton of damage. Yeah, they definitely do a ton of damage. They feel good to use. So the PKP Pecheneg is going to go into probably A tier, while the Zulu's PKM goes into A tier as well. It's kind of just the PKM but with a scope, and this one goes into A minus. Now the RPD is just complete trash, and I mean it. The RPD is just garbage as an LMG. I'll explain why very shortly. So this gun has bad accuracy, bad handling. It has 100 rounds. It has a 100 round magazine, like the others. But here's the problem with it: the fire rate sucks. Like the fire rate generally sucks. You need more than this on an LMG that's firing ammo that's good, but not that potent. You need more than that. It's just not good enough. And the reload on it. Don't get me started on the reload. I need to get some ammo for it first, but the reload on it is so abysmally long, and you can't put any attachments on it. And it's super heavy. It is not worth using. The only reason I'd ever be happy to see this gun is in the off chance that a Stalker might have had it fully loaded, and I might be able to get 100 rounds of 7.62 by 39. Otherwise, this thing is so freaking heavy and just absolutely not worth using this over even an AK-47, which is going to be a lot lighter, have more fire rate, pretty much the same accuracy as this. So yeah, this is garbage. It's gonna go into, well, probably like, can I put a weapon in F tier? Because this would be the first one to go into F tier. So I think the tier list is just going like S, A, B, C, D, F. So yeah, this. I mean, it's not that far. Yeah, I know where I put the Makarov in like C minus, and I put this in D, right? But no, it really does suck. It really does suck. So it's gonna go into probably C minus. Yeah, probably C minus. It's really not one of the weapons you want to use. Okay. Next, we go for the AN-94. So the AN-94 is a very interesting weapon because it has this special mechanic, right? You can just fire 2 rounds with it, very, very accurately. First one after the second, they go into pretty much the exact same spot, and that feels very good because you're often going to be aiming, and the shot that you're going to fire is going to hit, and then the second shot that you're going to fire, you're going to have to readjust for where they move. But this one fires them pretty much instantly. So this means that you pretty much always going to hit 2 shots on a target. Now, the seeds hammer a lot faster than you think it would. But it's generally just a very nice little feature to have on what would be an AK. That is generally a very good AK just by itself. So even without using this feature, the gun is good. But having the availability of that feature really bumps it up. So I'm gonna put it in probably just A tier. Yeah, maybe even A plus. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put it in A plus. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in A plus because it's also very lightweight. So yeah, A plus weapon, very good. Now the 9A91, I'm gonna have to be honest. I hardly ever use this weapon. I've used it like a couple times, and I remember it being kind of decent, but definitely a lot worse than the VSS Vintorez and the AS-Val, which are the other choices that you have for this weapon. It's kind of like an SMG. It's pretty much an SMG that's trying to use a caliber that's not SMG. So I'm gonna put it in probably just B tier for the accuracy that it has and for the weight. Maybe I'm completely wrong here, and maybe it's all better than that. But I have 20 magazine size and that ammo, which is not really that great, and not being able to use the built-in scopes of the VSS Venturas, I can't say that it's going to be that amazing. Man, I'm going to put it probably at B plus. Honestly, that way it looks good. So yeah, up next we have the AK971. So if the AN94 got A plus, this is gonna get S minus. So the AK971, very good AK. It has very nice fire rate on a weapon that has very good controllability. It has very good stats overall. It reloads quickly, which I need some ammo to show. Yeah, it reloads quickly. Of course, it fires a caliber that's very abundant, very light, kind of cheap as well, relatively cheap. So yeah, it just feels like a good weapon. You can put a lot of attachments on it. You can put the suppressor, which is kind of heavy for a suppressor. You can put the PSO1 scope. You can put the Cobra. I'd put the PSO1 scope on it, or the tulip scope. And you can also put the grenade launcher on it, which is a perfectly fine grenade launcher. But yeah, it has very good accuracy for an AK. You can get some very nice upgrades on it as well. You can get reliability. Actually, not that nice upgrades, kind of like just middle of the line upgrades. So yeah, there's definitely way more better upgrades than assault rifles, but honestly, just a very nice gun. It's gonna get S minus. Very nice AK. Probably the best weapon for 545. So yeah, that's gonna get a nice S minus. Up next, we have, and of course, in terms of the upgrades on it compared to the other versions, they're mostly just a bit better because they have just a bit better accuracy, but not better enough that they're going to go into a different tier. So up next, we have the AK973, which you pretty much should just imagine as an AK971, but for 7.62. And considering that the options that you have for 7.62 are a lot more limited, this is actually a very good weapon. And it's going to go into S minus as well, pretty much for the exact same reasons the AK971 is. But the ammo for it is going to be a bit rarer, and you can use that ammo for better things, which I'll show soon. But yeah, still it's going to be an S minus weapon. So the AK-47, just the founding father of all these weapons surrounding it, right? The AK-47, sadly you can't put a scope on it, but you can put the suppressor by default, and you can use the grenade launcher after modification. It doesn't have good accuracy, so you wouldn't want to put a scope on it anyway. But it has good fire rates. It has decent controllability, and it's just an assault rifle. You know, this is as assault rifle as it gets. It's just basic assault rifle, just doing its thing. Not very accurate, not as accurate as you'd want it to be for sure. Not too light either for an inaccurate weapon. So I can't really give it more than a B minus, sadly. But yeah, it's gonna get a B minus just because there's way better options than this. Up next, we have the AK-101. So this is one of the weapons, one of the AK-10 something series, and this one fires 5.56. It's not that good as a 5.56 weapon. It has a crazy choice of scopes, which is nice, and it looks very good. I love the way it looks. I love the way it sounds, but its statistics are just a bit underwhelming. It's not very accurate, not as accurate as you want it to be. The fire rate's fine, but the handling on it is not that amazing. But it's mostly just the accuracy that's like just holding it down a bit. Also doesn't have any special features. The weight on it is fine, but overall, pretty decent gun. The problem is that there's going to be better options than it in the 5.56 category. So it's just going to go into A tier, which is very nice, but you are going to get slightly better options than this. But overall, very good gun. The AK-101 camouflage is basically going to fix the problems of the AK-101. It's going to give it more accuracy. And, you know, the camouflage, I've seen it before. I can't remember it too well, but I think it looks... it doesn't look better than the normal AK-101. So yeah, this is going to go into A plus as well. No, the other one's an A tier. That one's going to go into A plus, just because that bit of accuracy really makes a difference. It really does. I can't stress it enough. So the AK-102 is, what if we made the AK-101, but it's bad? So here's the thing. Here's the problem with these stupid. We're going to use the carbine versions, right? Here's the problem with them. Let me get both of the guns quickly. So I'm gonna unload both of them. You can see the weight: 3.2, 3.6. Now here's what I can do with this one. Minus weight upgrades. Oh, minus 0.8. Wow. So I can make this weapon weigh only 2.8. That's awesome. 2.8. This one weighs 3.2, so it's always going to weigh more. And it doesn't have the upgrade. Oh no, it doesn't have the upgrade to have lighter weight. So you're using a carbine weapon, which has way less accuracy, way worse accuracy. It feels a lot worse to use overall. And you're getting none of the benefits because if you just want to have a very light a very light weapon, you're going to go with something like this, and you're just going to give it a single upgrade. It's minus 0.8 weight. You're not going to bother with the other upgrades because they're all going to add weight. So the carbine weapons just freaking suck. They're stupid. But forgetting that problem for a second, the way it actually is just way too inaccurate, way too heavy for it's meant to be. It's gonna go into, and you're firing 5.56 out of this. It's such a waste. It's gonna go into C plus. I can't give it any more than C plus. It just sucks. Now the AK-103 is one of the few good choices that you have for 760 by 39. Feels very cool to use this with a scope. It's kind of like the AK-101, except for 760 by 39. It's nice. It's gonna go into A minus. You just have better options for 760 by 39, but it's still a good one. As it's A minus. The AK-101 camouflage, it's the same thing, but it's going to go into A because it has that extra bit of accuracy, so that's enough to bump it up a tier. AK-104 trash, and not as trash as the AK-102 in my opinion, but still trash. So it's going to go into B minus. A bit trashy, right? The AK-105, this is really one of the worst choices that you can pick for 545. So it's gonna have to go into like I don't know, like C plus. Because you just have so many better options for 545, and I'm about to show you like fucking 20 of them. So yeah, this is gonna go into C plus. AK-12, honestly, just very sad gun because you get rid of the NATO attachments, and you're using this gun that looks bad generally. Like this gun just looks bad. Like look at this, it looks terrible, and it is terrible IRL as well. It is terrible IRL. The stock on it is stupid. Of course, you don't know that in the game. You don't feel that in the game. But in terms of AKs, this is one of the most recent ones, but definitely not one of the better ones. So it's just gonna go probably into. I mean, all you can use is an ACOG on it. But I guess if you want an AK with an ACOG, I mean, it's not bad. You know, it's not bad. It's kind of light. I just don't like the way it looks, but I can't give it worse than the B plus. So the AK-74N is kind of bad because even though you can put the upgrades on it, it's kind of like the AK-47 in which you don't want to use the scope on it because it's very inaccurate. If you use this to snipe, the shots are gonna go left and right of where you aim it. So it's really not that good for using the upgrades. It's not too reliable in terms of the whole accuracy thing on it. The reload's nice though. The reload feels fine. It's a nice weapon to use. Very, very common. And honestly, it's just gonna go into B tier. It's not AK-47 accuracy, but it's also not good accuracy by any means. So yeah, A tier weapon. Up next, we have the where did I put it? Up next, we have, now I'm gonna have a ton of them. The AK-74N alternate is just this, but a tiny bit better, but not better enough that I can consider it more than B tier, so it's still B tier. The AK-74N custom is better enough that I can consider it B plus, so it's gonna go into B plus. It's a lot like the AK-12, except it looks good. The AK-74N modern is now a bit worse than the AK-74N custom, so it's probably going to go back into B tier. And the AK-74 itself is going to go into B minus because you can't put the attachment on it, right? This is the modernized version, it's the AK-74N, and this one being just normal AK-74. It's just going to go into B minus, kind of like an AK-47 would. So the AK-74 in EOTech, I've never seen this gun apart from over here. So I don't think this gun actually exists in the game, so I'm going to skip over it. The AK-74M is kind of like the AK-74N, but actually good. So this is going to go into probably just B plus or even A minus. Probably even A minus, honestly, because it feels very good. It looks very good. You can put a scope on it. The accuracy on it is generally kind of nice. And I mean, this is always going to have the problem that it's worse than the AK-971 and it's worse than the AN-94, but it still feels like a perfectly fine weapon to use. So it's going to go into A tier. Yeah, very nice accuracy, very nice recoil control on it. It feels good. The AK-74M alternate is basically the same thing, but a tiny bit better. So it's still A tier, and the AK-74M camouflage is the same thing, but good enough better that I can consider it A plus. The AK-74 in custom, probably A plus as well. It also looks pretty freaking cool. Has this interesting white vibe to it, kind of like dirty white. I like it for what it is, so it's gonna go into A plus. Then we have the AK-74M Duty Camouflage, back to A tier because it's Duty. And then we have this gun, which I don't believe we've seen either. I don't believe it's available. I think this one is available. I think this one is actually available. I think you can get it as an order, but I'm not entirely sure. But even if you can, it looks very freaking crazy. I've never used it once, so I don't really know where to rate it. But it looks very inaccurate. Doesn't look that heavy for having a built-in sight and suppressor. But I've never seen it, and it seems to have less weapon than it seems to have less damage than the other guns, right? So it's probably not implemented. So I'm not gonna rate it. Yeah. So now the AKMN, which is basically the AK-47, but actually made useful, is gonna probably just going to B tier. I mean, it's not that much better. The accuracy on it still sucks, but it's a bit better. The AKMSN still B tier. It's having the foldable stock doesn't really change much whatsoever. The AKMSN alternate still B tier weapon. These weapons just aren't accurate enough to call them assault rifles. Like they have like SMG accuracy, so you can't really use any upgrades on it like a scope because it's gonna feel bad. And you just have so many better options. But at the same time, they're not bad weapons, so they're just going to be tier. The AKS-47 is going to go into B minus because it's like an AK-47 but worse. The AKS-74N is going to go probably into B plus, like the AK-74N would. And the AKS-74N new still going to go in B plus. And now come the 5.56 and all the NATO weaponry. So yeah, we're not even halfway through the rifles. We still have okay. Well, yeah, 5.56 time. So the Steyr AUG is an interesting weapon, but I never use it because it sucks, unfortunately. So the biggest problem that I have with it is the sight. So it's a built-in sight, meaning that you have to use it unless you want to hip fire it, and it sucks as a sight. It really does suck. Because I don't think you can improve the range on it. No, you can't improve the range on it. As a weapon itself, if it weren't for this horrible sight, it would be a perfectly fine weapon with maybe slightly underwhelming accuracy, but honestly just perfectly fine. But that sight just kills it, kills it, kills it, kills it. And it's for all the Styrags, because it's a 1.5 sight. Like, let me say that I want to target, let me see, is there anyone around here? Okay, let's say I want to target that guy. Look at this. It's terrible because it has no zoom, right? So you can't zoom with it. And it occupies a big amount of space. So if they move just a little bit, you're going to have to be searching for them. It's horrid. It's straight up horrid what they did with this. And I mean, I guess it's accurate as to what the gun actually is, but it sucks. Absolutely sucks. It's gonna go into C plus. Like I generally never ever would use this gun unless I have nothing else whatsoever. It sucks. The only reason you pick it up is to remove the ammo for it and then drop it again. All of them. Okay. The FNFAL is a very cool weapon. I like it. I like the FNFAL. Mostly because, it's the FNFAL, but you mostly won't fire it in automatic mode, but it feels good. It's not as good as the G3, but it feels good for sure. You can put the attachments on it, you can put on other weapons. It's good accuracy. So overall, this is going to be an A-tier weapon. Maybe not A plus because the ammo on it sucks. So yeah, not A plus because of the ammo and because it's kind of heavy and kind of old and outdated. But yeah, still an A-tier weapon. So the FNFNC is a very interesting weapon because this is one of the 556 options that cannot have any sort of scope on it, which is interesting because every other weapon here either has a built-in scope or you can put a scope on it. This one, you can't. All you can do is put a suppressor on it. But despite that obvious downside, it has very, very controllable recoil. Like, look at that. I'm holding it down straight. Holding it down straight. Look at the difference when I hold this down straight. And I mean, sure, okay, you're gonna say but Fed, that's freaking, that's not a 556 weapon. Okay, let me put any 556 weapon here. Just this. Look at the difference. It goes everywhere. Look at this one. It does not go everywhere. It stays. Very good accuracy. This is the weapon that you want to use if you want to go for hip fire or if you want to just use the iron sights. This is it. This is the absolute best weapon if you want to do that. Of course, I am 95% of the time not going to be doing that. I'm going to be using a scope on it, or rather a scope on whatever gun I want to use. But overall, very good if you want to go for that specific playstyle. So it's going to go into probably S minus. Probably S minus. Sadly, it's just that the playstyle isn't that great. I feel because it just wastes a lot of ammo, and just having a scope is overall safer. But that's really just very, very cool weapon. So yeah, it's gonna go into S minus. So the G3A3 is a very cool weapon, but it suffers from a few problems. The first one is the existence of the G3 Scharfschützengewehr. I thought it was just Schützengewehr. I guess long shooter or something, or a sharpshooter, right? Yeah, this one just has a built-in scope, and it's a very good scope, and it doesn't really suffer too much from the weight, and I think it even deals more damage, doesn't it? Yeah, I think it even deals more damage. So the G3 itself is sadly just not going to be that good of a weapon, mostly just because of statistics. Mostly just because of the statistics, but yeah, this is a very good scope that you can have, and it feels like a very good weapon to use when you have the G3 SG1. This is generally just an awesome weapon. Sadly, the damage on it should be a bit higher, but just where it is, which is still perfectly fine damage. So this is gonna go. It's slightly heavy for this, so it's gonna go into A plus tier, while the G3A3 is sadly gonna have to go into B plus. It still has very good accuracy, but that's really where its upsides end. So it's gonna have to go into B plus, while this one gets to go into A plus. Okay, up next we have the G36. Now, the G36 has a bit of a problem, same as the Steyraug, but I don't think it's as terrible. As, you can't upgrade it to not have this. But overall, this doesn't feel as bad as it does on the Steyraug, at least. At least for me personally, it doesn't feel as terrible. And the gun overall feels a bit better to use in terms of accuracy, in terms of the way it handles. I like it a bit more, but I still wouldn't use this weapon. So I'm gonna put it in B minus once again because of the stupid sight that you have on it that you cannot change. Wait, can you aim it in? I actually haven't played with a scroll wheel in a very long time, so no, you can't do anything with it. Okay, no, still B minus. Just not a very good weapon. Pretty sure the G36K is almost the exact same story. Unless, no, it's the exact same story, isn't it? Yeah, except this one feels a bit nicer to use. It also feels kind of funny, the way it kind of moves around, so that's cool. It's not bad. Once again, this scope is gonna just put it down because it occupies most of your screen. You can't remove it. It's just a bit sad to see the weapons doing this. So it's gonna go into probably just B tier. Yeah, probably just a B tier weapon because the scope isn't as terrible. And overall, like its statistics are fine, and they're not amazing, but they're fine. So we've rated that one already. So the Galils are an interesting one. Definitely the Galil Modern is gonna be the best, but they're not that heavy. They deal good damage. They have very interesting scopes. They have their own scope, their own unique one with the Galil 4x scope, and they're genuinely nice weapons if you want to use them. They have 25 magazine size. That feels good. And really, the big problem here is just the ammo type. That kind of sucks. If the ammo type wasn't that, but then again, there isn't really an intermediate ammo type other than this between sniper rifle and assault rifle, which this is used by sniper rifles, but yeah, it's the intermediate one. It just feels like it's a good weapon, but I don't feel like it's a top tier weapon personally. So I'm gonna put it most likely in A plus. So the HK416, this is when you get into the better 5.56 weapons. So the HK416 is an interesting one. I personally don't like it that much, but a lot of people like it. A lot of people like the HK416. They swear by it. They say it's an awesome 5.56 weapon. I personally can't see it. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it feels that much, but it's a good weapon. I mean, if you look at the statistics and if you look at the fact that you can use all the attachments on it that you want to have. It isn't heavy. It has good accuracy. It's good. It's a good weapon. It's gonna go into at least A tier. I can't give it any worse than an A tier. I wouldn't give it A plus, but that's just me. Now the L85A1 and the L85A2. The L85A1 is gonna go into A plus. Yes, A plus. I'm gonna put it in A plus because these weapons. I used to not like them. Can you believe I used to not like them? But I really started liking them after just playing with them more often because this scope, it goes in, man. It goes in. And the way it aims, like the freaking reticle on it, looks nice, feels nice, and it hinders your screen a fair amount, but you can still see pretty well. Like for example, if I want to see if there's someone there on the duty tower, I can just do it like this, and I can look above the scope. I can look to the right of the scope, to the left of it, or I can just aim right at the person on the duty tower and do it quite accurately. So yeah, this is gonna go into A plus tier. You get the scope built in. You can't remove it, but you wouldn't want to. You can put a suppressor on it. You can't use a grenade launcher, but I mean that's mostly fine. You can just use normal grenades. Maybe that's not the thing for you, but I feel this weapon goes into A plus. While the LED5A2, pretty much every version of it, pretty much every version of the LED5A2, which is just a bit more accurate and has a better. Oh no, actually no, these weapons need to go up. These weapons need to go up. I just remembered something. Yeah, this one has to go into S minus tier. Because they have minus weight and they have amazing reliability upgrades. Yeah, they have plus 25, plus 15, plus 10, plus 25, and I'm pretty sure the L85A2s have even better ones on the upgrades that they have. So this one has plus 15, plus 25, plus 15, plus 25, and plus 10. So yeah, what this means in practice is that this gun, you can just use it and use it and use it and abuse it and just go like bang, 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 and just fire over and over, like kill like dozens, if not hundreds of stalkers, and it's not going to be broken. You can kill dozens upon dozens of stalkers and still only have to use like one repair part once. It's very, very reliable, which is ironic considering the history of this gun, right? But feels very good. Has that red thing on the reticle, which makes it look even nicer. So the other one's going to go into S minus. This one's going to go into S tier directly. Very, very good weapon. Up next, we have the LR300. Now this is an interesting one because it's very light and you can put an upgrade on it to make it even lighter. The way I like to use it is just by going to the custom, which has better accuracy than the base one, and just using this as less of, you know, a rifle where you put an ACOG in and more of a rifle where you get the minus weight upgrade on it and make it weigh like just 2.5. So basically use this as a carbine rifle, like one of those shortened ones, like an AK-7040U. Right, use it as one of those if you really wanna do that. You can still put an ACOG on it and just use it in like short range, like range like this, basically with the ACOG, and it's very easy to reload with it. It feels nice. The weapon feels nice by itself. It's just a very nice weapon. It's not as accurate as you'd wish it to be, but then again, it has the way to make up for it. So it's gonna go. I would say the LR300 itself goes into A tier, and the camouflage version and the custom version go into A+. So the M16A4 and the M16A2, right? Yeah, the M16A4 is better than the M16A2. The M16A2 has kind of bad accuracy for what it is, but then again, it's a very old rifle compared to the other ones. The M16A2 is way better. The M16A4 is way better on the accuracy front. So this one's just gonna go into. No, you can. Wait, you can't use an ACOG on it. Really? I thought you could. Looks like I thought you could use an ACOG on it. I suppose you can only use it on the M16A4 then. Yeah, it's way better on the accuracy front. So yeah, this one's gonna go into probably just A tier. There is a bit of a problem with the recoil being kind of big, so that's a slight problem. But then again, if you're just using it shot by shot, or if you're only using it in very close range, the recoil won't really matter. I mean, I would have hit all those shots anyway. So yeah, overall, that's gonna go into A tier, and the M16A2 is actually gonna go into B tier because it's just way worse accuracy and no scope upgrades. Not really that good. Maybe even B minus, but no, just B tier. I've already rated the M249 Saw, right? No, wait, no, I didn't. I don't think I did. It's an interesting weapon. It's kind of like just having basically the M16A2, except you give it a 100 magazine size and you make it weigh double as much. But you know, it's good because it fires pretty quickly, and the reload on it kind of abysmal. Now that I'm remembering, kind of abysmal. But when you have 100 rounds on it, so it's not as terrible as one might think. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I wouldn't put it at higher than B tier. Sadly, just doesn't have that much special going for it, and usually 30 rounds is enough. And reloading with these guns, it really isn't that troublesome. You know, I mean, let's take an M4 here, for example. Reload it. That's not a reload button. Yeah, I mean, it's fast, right? You do it quickly, you do it behind cover, and boom, you're ready to take another 30 rounds. So you're still going to have more DPS with this than you're going to have with the M249 Saw. And it's not like you're going to have a room filled with so many enemies that you need 100 rounds at a time. At least that usually shouldn't happen. Okay. So in terms of the M4A1 RAS, it's kind of like the M4A1, but a bit better, I believe. Yeah, you have the M4A1 custom. These weapons are all going to go into the same tier, which is probably going to be A plus, because they're very light for the weapon that they are, but they keep the accuracy that you'd want them to keep, and they have awesome fire rate if you want to make use of it, and you have access to all of the upgrades that you might want to get. And the M41 ROS is kind of just the same thing, I believe. I don't really use it much over the other ones, but it is the same thing, except I don't like the way it looks all that much. But yeah, these ones are all going to go into A+. Plus. The Freedom Camouflage one, still going to go into A+. Plus. Yeah, they're just very, very decent weapons. This one, yeah, I don't like the way it looks all that much, but can't give it any worse than that, than an A+. Plus. Maybe it has better recoil than the other ones, but yeah, still A+ plus weapon. No, out you go. Alright. Up next, we are gonna have the PPS Sage 41, which should by all means not be here, but this is, if you don't want to use the CZ52, this is the best way to use the, with the camo one, this is the best way to use the 762 by 25 ammo. You just bring 71 rounds on it, and you just go ham. You know, you just go like this, and it's not good. It's not a good strat. Don't do it if you think you're going to be in any actual danger, because your weapon is unreliable, your weapon is inaccurate, your weapon has no pen, and your weapon has no damage. And it's also kind of heavy for what it should be. But it's not a terrible weapon. There's worse SMGs than this, so I can't give it worse than like a B minus. And it looks cool too, and it has a 71 round magazine, which reloads rather quickly. I should add. So yeah, it's decent. It's decent. I think it just goes into a B minus. It's fun to use at times, but definitely not a good weapon. Hell no. Okay, the RPK. I personally don't like the RPK all that much because you can't put any upgrades on it. So the RPK, which it has decent accuracy, but I mean, you only have a 40 magazine size rather than a 45, and you can't put any upgrades on it. I mean, you just have better options in the form of the AK-103 and those sorts of weapons. But then again, it feels like a decent enough assault rifle, so it's gonna go into B tier. And yeah, just a B tier one. Just very much standard one. The RPK 74N is definitely going to be a lot better than just the B tier weapon. It fires at a very good rate. It's not extremely fast like the AK 971, but it has a 45 round magazine, and 45 actually feels helpful. Having 45 rather than 30 when you're actually planning on just spamming the shots, which you can do with this. Feels very nice on the reload for a 45 round weapon. It's not that heavy for a 45 round weapon. It's kind of accurate for a 45 round weapon. And the handling on it's good. For pretty accurate, you can put pretty much whatever upgrades you want on it, rather than except the grenade launcher. It's just good. It's just good. I mean, you have slightly better options in the form of the AK-971, but there's no better option than this if you want a weapon with 45 magazine size. It really isn't. So I'm just gonna have to put it in probably just A tier, because it generally is just a pretty nice gun. Just a very nice A tier gun. Alright. Next we have the Scars. So okay, in terms of the Scars, they're kind of like the Galils in the way that they operate, but they're a bit better because they're more modern and they're less heavy. So I'm gonna put them probably. I think the regular Scar itself is gonna go into A tier, while the camouflaged versions are gonna go into A plus. But I can definitely see an argument putting these ones higher because you can put all the upgrades you want on them. You can put grenade launcher. They look cool as hell. They're pretty light for what they are. They have pretty good controllability. Actually, do they really deserve just the? Hmm. I mean, maybe you should put them. Maybe I should put them higher because I mean that's really good accuracy for a gun like this. Yeah, that's really good accuracy. I think the camouflage one is going to go into S minus. This one's going to go into A plus, and this one's going to go into A plus as well, but closer to the S minus. The only problem that I have with it, once again, the ammo. The ammo for it stupidly bad. 760 by 51 ball is just terrible. The AP one is good, but you know the other one sucks. Okay, now there's no Scar L, so there's no Scar that fires 5.56, so we go straight into the SIG, and I quite like the SIGs. I quite like the SIG SG 550s because they feel a bit clunky as weapons. I'll be honest, they feel a bit clunky in terms of design when compared to a lot of the other 5.56 weapons. I mean, they reload kind of oddly. They're kind of big, but you can put pretty much all the upgrades you want on them. They have very good accuracy base. Their upgrades are fine. It's just that they weigh kind of heavily, so I can't really put it higher than A tier, at least for this one. While the custom one is probably gonna, rather the camouflage one is gonna go into A plus tier for the amount of accuracy it has. So the SIG arrow, I believe, is kind of just like the other ones, but with a better fire rate or something. I can't actually remember too well. Yeah, it's kind of like just the other ones. I don't think there's really anything too special about it. I'm gonna check the upgrades quickly just to make sure if there isn't anything too special. It already has minus weight. It already has minus weight. Okay, yeah, it doesn't weigh that much. Plus 30 accuracy, plus 20 accuracy. Wait, yeah, these weapons have pretty good accuracy upgrades, so that's why I'm putting them kind of high. And they're kind of like the LED 582, except you need to get the scope for it first. But yeah, they have pretty good upgrades as well. I believe this one's the same, right? Yeah, plus 30, plus 20. Not as good as the LED 582s on reliability, that's for sure, but yeah, still pretty nice weapons. And go into S minus and A plus, right? Or A plus and A. Oh, it's just a bit too heavy. A plus and A. Yeah, it's just a bit too heavy. And this one's A as well. Maybe A plus. So the AS Val sadly gets a bit sidetracked by the VSS Vintorez existing. The VSS Vintorez just feels better than the AS Val. At least for me personally, but yeah, there is an argument for using the S-Val and just putting a normal scope on it. But the VSS Finterez, I believe, it has a bit less ammo, right? But I think it is a bit better overall in terms of the accuracy stats than the AS-Val is, and that's definitely worth sacrificing the 10 magazine size. That's perfectly fine. 10 magazine size for a gun like this, which you're supposed to use as like an urban ambush weapon, basically. Urban ambush, short to mid range scoping weapon. Assassination weapon, really, honestly. What you're gonna do with it is better fit for the VSS Venturez than it is for the SVAL stats. But if you want to use it as more of like a close quarters battle weapon, then you can with the SVAL, and it's gonna do a ton of damage if you use the AP on it, and with that fire rate and a 20 round magazine, it's nice. It's nice. It's also very light, so I'm gonna give the SVAL an A tier, especially because the built-in suppressor and also the good controllability that it has definitely deserves an A tier, while the VSS Venturez is going to get an A plus tier from me. But now you're going to see like all these different variations or whatever. Basically, they're kind of the same because this one just doesn't have the scope on it initially, but you can put a scope on it and they're going to be pretty much the same as this scope if I remember correctly. Yeah, I mean this one might be a bit better because it has it looks better, right? It looks a bit better, but it doesn't feel that much different to just having the normal like PS1 scope, so it's not going to get any higher than A+. Also, big problem with these weapons, obviously, is the fact that the ammo is not too common, nor is it too cheap. And also the fact that the bullets drop off. They drop off really freaking hard. So that's a big problem sometimes. Now, the Tide, I believe, is a better version of it, but I'm not sure how much better it is. It feels pretty much the exact same. I don't know how this one is better, honestly. It kind of just feels the same. Maybe it's a bit better, but I can't give it any more than an A+. Alright, now for the VSK94, which is like kind of like the odd child of these ones that you pretty much never see. It's kind of just as good as the VSS Meter S, so it's gonna go into A+. The XM8, I've played with this gun, but I don't think it's actually in the game. I think it's just in the files, but not actually present in the game itself, so I'm not gonna rate it. Now, the Time 63 is an interesting weapon because I personally really like it. It's not that good, but I personally really dig this. Really dig this one. It was actually like one of my first Glock sniper rifles. I pretty much used almost exclusively this for my first playthrough. And it just feels pretty nice to use. Of course, with the extra recoil, it doesn't feel as good too. not spam this. Wow, it doesn't feel good at all. So yeah, maybe I was kind of blinded by the no enhanced recoil effect when I initially used it. But it just sounds really good, sounds very unique, and overall, it's an SKS, but way better. Because you can use it in automatic mode, and you have 20 rounds for it rather than having only 10, and it also looks better. So overall, it's like kind of like an AK-47, but way more accurate than what it would be. So that one's gonna go. That's a lot of weapons that we've that we've laid out. So yeah, that one is gonna go. Ah, where is it gonna go? That's the question. Where is it gonna go? Because I'm not entirely sure when I want to put it. I mean, it has good accuracy. The upgrades on it aren't great. It's a very old weapon. The upgrades on it aren't great. I'm just gonna put it into B plus. It's definitely not a B tier weapon. It feels a bit better than a B tier. So the Galil Ace suffers from the same problems that the 545 carbines did. Same thing with these ones. They all suck. You're better off because you can't put a minus weight upgrade on this. You're better off getting an actual rifle and putting minus weight on it than getting one of these and just having them as is because they're also going to get weight if you upgrade them. They just have way worse base stats than the other ones do, so they're really not worth it. Of course, in terms of not being worth it, the Galil Ace is still fine because it has pretty decent accuracy for the kind of weapon that it is, but it doesn't feel that great for me to use personally, so I'm just gonna give it B tier. It doesn't feel like more than a B tier weapon. These ones I've already rated the AK-102. I'm gonna rate them the exact same, which I believe was either B minus or C plus. So the Ash 12.7 is just a really bad weapon, and the reason it sucks is mostly because the ammo it fires is also really heavy, but it fires 12.7 by 55, which is so expensive and so good on sniper rifles, but so expensive, and it does not deal 12.7 by 55 damage. It deals way worse damage. It deals like 760 by 39 damage. It's just a massive waste of ammo on a weapon that's too big and that doesn't really have anything too good going for it. Honestly, like it's not worth using this weapon. I don't know why this weapon even exists. It looks bad, and it's firing these rounds, but it's not doing the damage that it should be, or at least like maybe it being an SMG, and a bullpup SMG at that. Well, rather a bullpup assault rifle means that it's not really giving the bullets enough acceleration that they need to actually be good. That's probably what's happening here, but yeah, this is genuinely just a complete waste of a weapon. Like, do not ever use it. If you have ammo, you save the ammo. Like, always. You never use this gun. Sadly, you're just never gonna use it. So I'm just gonna put it into D minus because I mean I can't put it into D minus. Just put it into accounting for the ammo. I'm just gonna put it into C minus. Okay, the FAMAS F3, extremely rare weapon. Like, extremely rare. I think I've only ever gotten it by spawning in as Unisk, as UNISG. I've never gotten it in any other way, I don't think, but I think it's kind of comparable to the FNF 2000. You can put the scope on it. It looks terrible when you put the ACOG on it, I just remembered. Yeah, it looks absolutely terrible. But it's overall a decent gun if you don't mind the fact that it looks awful. It's low weight. I think it has pretty good upgrades. Yeah, these upgrades look to be fine. Yeah, the upgrades look to be pretty fine. So yeah, it's gonna have good accuracy. It's gonna have good upgrades. With the upgrades, it's gonna have good accuracy. Normally it doesn't, but it has really good controllability. From the quick test that I just gave it. So yeah, overall, it's probably gonna be an A-tier weapon. Yeah, just an A-tier weapon. Not bad, but very rare A-tier weapon. Up next, we have the FNF 2000s. Now, you're going to think that this is going to suffer from the same problem that the Steyraug and and the G36 did, but it doesn't, because initially this looks a lot better. You know, this feels a lot better to use. You have way more space to like maneuver your mouse around whenever you need to adjust, when you need to adjust, and it doesn't eat up as much of your screen. Or rather, it eats more of your screen, but it eats it up in a way that you don't really mind as much. At least I don't. So yeah, that doesn't feel as bad as it could. And another good thing about it is that you can upgrade it. You can upgrade it to have a 4 times optimal scope, which is the same as the PSO1 and better than the ACOG. And then you can upgrade it to have an adjustable sight, meaning that you can put it back and forth in case you want to snipe or if you want to use it in short range. And then you can have eye contrast sight and the PKL night vision device. The night vision device sucks. The high contrast sight is interesting. It has some. The problem with the high contrast sight is that it's kind of useful sometimes. And I mean, I'm gonna try showcasing it by getting the, where is it? Outfit? No, not outfit. Items. Misc? No, tools. Device. Yeah. I'm gonna try showcasing it. Actually, I'll need to deliver tools to someone to actually do that. So let's do that real quick. First, I'm gonna go rich. Yeah, just because I can. And then we're gonna get the tools that we need to do the upgrades. So as you can already see, this is what it looks like. Okay, it's still too bright for it, but this is what it looks like, right? Like this. And if I want to upgrade this, which I can't, I have to do these first. Okay, but now if I want to upgrade this to have the high contrast sight, I can do that, and you're gonna see how it looks different. So this is how it looks, and you can see it has higher contrast in a way, right? It has higher contrast in a way. You can see better, technically. You can technically see a bit better, and sometimes that's good. Other times it's really bad, because it doesn't feel that much of a difference in most situations. It feels a bit odd in most situations, and when it's really at nighttime, it's kind of gonna mess up your night vision. I mean, it looks good like this, right? Like at this point, it looks awesome. And this is like the time of day that you want to be using the high contrast sight. You want to use it like this. But once you go to somewhere dark and you use the night vision, it doesn't look quite as awesome. So let's go to sleep and let's go test it out. So yeah, let's go to 1 a.m., which is really when the night is darkest. So you can see it's very dark outside. Let's go somewhere where it's really, really dark. As you can see, super dark, can hardly see anything. With this, I can see just a tiny bit better. You know, definitely a tiny bit better. With this, I can see perfectly fine. But with this, it goes down in visibility. It goes a bit down in visibility, doesn't it? I mean, at least it does for me. I feel like it goes down in the visibility that you get. With this, it goes up, but if you already have this night vision, you see everything very well in black and white, and then you go back to this, and I feel like you can't see stuff by itself. It's a bright night, unfortunately. It's a pretty bright night tonight, so it's not giving me the best of tests. But you can see, like this, I can't see anything. Like this, I can see perfectly well. Like this, it's kind of limited again. And I don't particularly enjoy it. All this for the high contrast side. It just feels a bit unnecessary. But you can get it. Not really dependent on the gun, because I mean you can either get it on or not get it. You know, it being the option being there isn't gonna lose you any sort of value. So I'm just gonna not really count that as. I mean, I'm gonna count that as something that could be helpful, but that isn't really that helpful. So all the FN F2000s are pretty much identical. Maybe the camouflaged one has a bit better accuracy, but they're generally just pretty nice weapons. Then again, I don't really go for them because they're kind of rare, and having to upgrade the weapon to make it kind of playable isn't that great. But they're light. They have good accuracy with the upgrades. Just normally they have pretty decent accuracy as well. So I'm gonna have to put them all into A plus tier. I don't think they quite get the S minus because, but you could make an argument for it. But I'm gonna put them in A plus tier. I've never seen this one, so I mean, maybe it exists. It says it's from Nimble, but I imagine it's going to be worse than the other ones because you're forced to use the EOTech, which isn't that good. This is kind of like the FNFNC except bad, most likely. So I'm gonna have to put that into A minus because you're locked into that, but you still have good accuracy as the FNF 2000 base. So the OTS 14 Groza is basically well, it's the same caliber ammo as it is for the VSS Finterest and the SVAL, but it's not suppressed, which this is a subsonic round and it's not suppressed, which is weird, but it isn't. In terms of how it it deals a ton of damage for what it is. It's not too accurate, but it's more of like just a room by room assault rifle that you're gonna try to use it as. You can use a scope on it and you can try to snipe with it. It doesn't feel that good, but I mean it's good that you have that option. This is definitely more of like a short range, just line them up kind of gun, for which you probably have better options for different calibers than using this, but then again, it's not a bad weapon whatsoever. And if you want to use the caliber like that, then you can. So it's just gonna go into probably A minus. Yeah. The OTS 14 1A1 1A Groza 1, which fires 7.62 by 39, is gonna be a bit better because that caliber you have way easier access to it, and it's feels like a Groza. It maneuvers like, oh, it doesn't feel like a Groza actually. Hang on. It doesn't. The recoil on it is way worse. Well, never mind. I was about to say this gun's awesome, but it's not. Yeah, I thought the recoil on it would be way better. This is a scam. Don't get it. It's B plus tier. Yeah, don't get it. It's a scam. So the SIG Commando is basically the same as all the carbine weapons. Not worthwhile, but then again, that's kind of like the Galil Ace. So I'm gonna give it a B. Not a B plus, because it has a bit worse accuracy. The SR3M Vicker is kind of like the PP2000, in which it kind of just isn't used that much by you. At least it normally isn't, but it's kind of good. You know, it's generally kind of good. Underrated, but it's a good weapon. Really, the only problem with it is the accuracy, and also the fact, well, it's not a huge problem, but it's the accuracy and also the fact that it's firing 939 by 9 by 39, which is not something that you want to be using all that much. So yeah, it's gonna go into. I mean, for that weight to accuracy ratio, I can't give it worse than B plus, but I can't really justify putting this into A minus. I mean, no, for 2 kilograms, like for 2 kilograms, if you just have a bit of 939, like this fires good. Yeah, I'm gonna put it into A minus. Though you could even make an argument for putting it higher. Actually, I need to see the upgrades on it. I haven't really seen the upgrades on it. How are they? 3-round burst mode. That sucks. The upgrades, it has a ton of them. Lots of plus accuracy. Yeah, this is an A minus or even an A tier weapon. That's good. Good weapon. Alright. That's done with the rifles. Now let's go for the sniper rifles, which there aren't that many, but there's still a fair amount of them. So let's go from the top. The L96A1. Now, this sniper rifle would be awesome. I mean, awesome. If it weren't for the fact that it's using 7.62 by 51 ball. It's really just the only downside it has. It's a very long range sniper rifle, so you definitely only want to use it in areas like some parts of radar, Jupiter, Saturn, maybe the garbage if you're trying to snipe from the depot. But some parts of army warehouses, maybe what do you call it? Maybe the CNPP and maybe the Dead City as well. But overall, this weapon is definitely going to be limited because you can't use it in a lot of situations. You can probably put the adjustable sight on it, right? Probably has an adjustable sight it has, in which case becomes usable. But for a lot of maps, this aims in too much and it's really going to hinder you. So you have to be careful with that. But yeah, very good sniper in terms of in terms of stats, in terms of magazine size, in terms of the way it feels in general. But you'd have to change the caliber to 760 by 54, which you can do. So that's good. Kind of heavy for what it is, but overall, this sniper rifle goes into probably, I mean, all sniper rifles are going to be very high tier because they're awesome weapons. And just getting a sniper rifle feels amazing. So this one's probably going to go into A plus, just based on that accuracy and based on the possible uses that it has. So yeah, A plus. Up next, the L96 AWSM. So this one is not going to go into A plus. Unfortunately, this one is going to go a lot shorter because it suffers from the same problems the L96A1 does, but it's firing Lapua Magnum, which is a better round, but it's also a more expensive round, and it's a round that's way better on other sniper rifles because for some reason, this sniper rifle is not good for it. It only does the base damage that the other weaker sniper rifle rounds do. It doesn't have that full damage bar. It doesn't have close to that full damage bar, and it weighs just as much as the other one. So this one is just a waste of good ammo and only a 5 magazine size, while it could be a lot better. So it's really not worthwhile to use. I mean, if you have no better sniper rifle, you don't have anything else fire 338 Lapua Magnum, then sure, you're gonna use this. But late game, there's just way better stuff to use than this for the kind of ammo that it has. So I'm gonna put it into A minus. Okay, next. This one isn't in the game. Now, the Barrett M82. This is a crazy one. So here's the problem that I have with it. Okay, no, first let's go into the good stuff. Very accurate for the kind of gun that it is. The damage on it is completely insane. It one-shots most things. It's semi-automatic, meaning that you can basically go bang, and they're all like very spread out. But if they were close together, you could go bang, 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 and just kill everything. Another thing you can do with it is reload kind of quickly for a 10-round magazine. This is fast, and it deals just a ton of damage. Now, the downsides. And there's a lot. Downside number one, the weight. Completely insane at 12. That's god awful. This is basically a ghost rifle, except it's not a ghost rifle. It's kind of the idea that you have behind it. It's a ghost rifle with better rate of fire, but the ammo for it isn't 5 pen. The ammo for it is very heavy and a very expensive, less than the ghost rifle, but very expensive ammo. And the one on the left is 3 pen, the one on the right is 4 pen. But these rounds are going to cost you like 2,000 to shoot each. And that's not even in the highest, that's just like its survivalist difficulty. It's going to cost you like 2,000 rubles to fire this once. And you kind of want to fire with it. So it's a very expensive weapon to use. But as its positives, and it has a lot of positives, but the biggest one, well, one of the biggest ones that it has is that it's actually like really cheap to get or to repair. It's actually like really surprisingly cheap for the high tier weapon that it is. It's fine on the upgrades. You don't even need to upgrade it, honestly. You can put a silencer on it, which you don't really have to, but this is subsonic ammo, so you can do that. But overall, very good. The only problem is that it's really just quite heavy, but if you don't mind the heavy, this is really, really good. So I'm gonna put it into probably just S minus. The minus because of its weight and because of the cost of the ammo. But it gets to a point. You can get to a point in the game where those two stats don't really matter that much. So that's kind of the idea that it's the thing by itself is definitely S tier. So the Barrett M98B Bravo. So this is probably the most sniper rifle of the sniper rifles. The reason I say that is because it has just a great scope. Just a great freaking scope. It has great upgrades you can put on it. You can put a suppressor on it. You can put a high contrast sight, which you shouldn't, but you can. You can get accuracy upgrades on already amazing accuracy. It's a bolt action rifle. It has 10 magazine size, which is pretty good. Fires 338 will put a magnum, which is a very good balance between the weaker sniper rifle rounds and the 50 cal like sniper rifle rounds. And you can adjust it. It looks good. It also draws pretty good, goes away pretty good. And the moment you run and go back, instant. Look at that. Instant. Instant. And that makes an effect. Instant, and you fire it instantly. So yeah, it is very nice, very dedicated sniper rifle. Sniper rifle just feels awesome to use. It's just really, if you want a sniper rifle that feels authentic, this is the thing that you want to get for long range sniping stuff. So yeah, this is gonna go into S tier. It's only not gonna be S plus because it's bolt action and not semi-automatic, but definitely S tier. Alright, up next. After that is going to be the Remington 700. So the thing about the Remington 700 is an interesting one. It's basically just EL96A1 except way lighter and less magazine size and a tiny bit worse accuracy. You get it from Skinflint like kind of early on, and you can adjust the scope on it, which is pretty nice. I wasn't actually aware of that. And it's a cheap one. It's a cheap sniper rifle to get, but it does the job. It does the job. It feels kind of like if you put a Mosin firing 7.62 by 51 on a modern scope. It kind of feels like that. You can put a suppressor on it as well, which is pretty good, but honestly, this is light, and if you want a light sniper rifle, this might just be the thing for you. But it definitely has the 7.62 by 51 problem where the ammo for it sucks. And I don't like it. It's too heavy. It's not good. But overall, I have to give it a probably just an A tier. Alright? Yeah, just an A tier. So the SIG SG551 Sniper sucks. It doesn't have enough accuracy to justify the extreme weight that this thing has. It has the damage of 556, but it doesn't have the maneuverability of it. It doesn't have the reload speed of it. It doesn't have the handling of it, and it has a bad fire rate and a 20 magazine size. Like there's pretty much nothing good about this other than the fact that the scope looks cool and is cool, but the accuracy on it's not good enough. It sucks ass. Generally, this gun should not weigh 7 kilograms. This gun should not have the amount of accuracy that it does. And I mean, IRL, this thing is actually really freaking cool because it has really good accuracy for the kind of ammo, for the kind of weapon that it is. But here, it's just lacking on the accuracy and it's extremely heavy. So it's not good. It's not good. It's not even a sniper rifle. I can't consider this a sniper rifle. I'm gonna put it into B tier. And it's a weird B tier because it has a very nice scope, right? So this is a very weird weapon, but it's gonna go into B tier because it doesn't feel usable that much. It just feels kind of meh, and that you're not gonna use it. Okay. Now we go to the SV98, and now the SV98 is the sniper rifle that is like the most basic, the most straightforward sniper rifle. As in, it's not like a long-range sniper rifle. It's not a limited sniper rifle by in terms of short range. It's not limited by the ammo, but it also doesn't have like anything extremely special going for it. The thing this is, it just a jack of all trades, really. It's not too heavy. It has a good cartridge. It has very good accuracy. I mean, not 100% accuracy, but it has good accuracy. It's a bolt action, but it has a 10 magazine size. It draws pretty good, goes away pretty good, reloads pretty good, which I can show you. You know, it has that, so it reloads pretty good, it feels pretty good, sounds pretty good, nice to use. The upgrades on it are very nice. You can increase the scope and then you can make it adjustable, so that's nice. You can give it even more accuracy, you can give it a bit of reliability. It's just a really good sniper rifle. I'm gonna have to put it into probably just S tier. Yeah, probably just S tier. Because it's one of the best ones. It's very light. It just feels good to use. The ammo for it is cheap compared to all the other like higher tier sniper rifles, and it draws pretty good, goes away good. It's just very nice. So it's gonna go into S tier, not S plus because it's not an S plus weapon, but it's gonna be S tier for sure. The custom one might be a bit better, but still not S plus. The SVD sucks ass. Like this weapon. Like, okay, look at this. I'm gonna draw it, and I'm gonna try to fire as quick as possible. Trying. Did you see how long that took? Oh, but man, it's a sniper rifle. You're supposed to like, be, you know, like aim in and like prepare the shot. You're not supposed to like quick shot or like snapshot it. I know, but look, imagine someone is going through that passage there, and I only have a limited amount of time to get the shot. I take it out. I'm trying to aim, and I can't. I'm trying to aim. I'm trying to aim. It takes eons until I can finally do it. And then I can finally do it. And by the time I can do it, they're either gone or I have a very short window, and I fire and miss. Because this thing isn't that amazing on the accuracy either. Okay, so it's upsides. I didn't mean to drop it. I didn't mean to drop it. My bad. Yeah, it's upside. Why did it take so much damage? Drop it. Its upsides are basically that it's very light, and you know it has the same upsides of the SV98 that it fires the same round. It is semi-automatic, so you can fire it rather quickly, but the reload on it sucks as well. It's very sucky, and it takes ages for you to be able to use it again. But semi-automatic feels good to use as a semi-automatic, but it's just the going in and going out that just it triggers me. It doesn't have a built-in scope, so you have to use one of the assault rifle scopes, which isn't really what you want to do with a sniper rifle. Like it's pushing it, you know. You're gonna get a few shots that you just really wish you had a better scope. So this sniper rifle is gonna go into. It's not really a sniper rifle; it's a precision rifle, but it's gonna go into probably just. Yeah, it's not also not gonna have the sniper rifle accuracy of a lot of other ones. It's just very good accuracy, but not sniper quite. It's gonna go into it's a weird one. But probably A tier. Probably A tier. It's just that freaking animation of getting it and dropping it that pisses me off. Yeah, it really does. Alright, up next. And it's gonna get you killed once or twice, I can assure you. Up next, the SVD Lynx. This is basically the SVD, except it has a built-in scope, which is a pretty good one. It is definitely a pretty good scope that you get on it. I'm pretty sure you can even upgrade it. If I remember correctly, yeah, you can give it some pretty good upgrades. It has accuracy stuff, fires the same round, also semi-automatic. Functions exactly like the other SVD, still draws slowly, still reloads slowly. So that's really, it just keeps the same problems, but it doesn't keep the scope problem. But it also loses a bit of the weight thing, but it doesn't lose that much because I mean you just get like 0.5 kilograms heavier. But on a sniper rifle, that's kind of fine to just get the better scope. So I'm gonna give it an A plus. It's just a this. If it weren't for this, this was gonna get an S. If it weren't for this, this would be worth an S. But this, it gets it an A plus. Okay. Not even an S minus, I mean a straight S. Okay, up next we have the VSSK Cyclop. Now this is an interesting one because it's kind of like the Barrett M82, except this one is actually integrated suppressor and it has more of a sniper rifle scope and an attitude to it than the other one. So you can put a better scope on it, you can adjust it as well, so that's good. You can do some pretty decent upgrades to get that accuracy just a bit higher. And this is basically if you had a VSS Vintorez, but big, and bolt rifle. And bolt action, I mean. So yeah, it fires, suppressed, hurts a ton, kind of easy to get. A lot of monoliths will actually use this. A lot of the high tier monoliths will actually use this, and you see when it hits you that it freaking hurts. If it hits you in the head, you're dead. Pretty much guaranteed, but unless you have an exoskeleton and some upgrades. But yeah, it's generally decent. I don't particularly like it too much because I feel like it being suppressed as integrated suppressor, it still fires this ammo, which I don't feel is necessary. I feel it's overkill if I'm using it as a sniper rifle, like a pure sniper rifle, which this one is, and not as the Barrett M82. It doesn't feel that great to do that, but it's because of the ammo cost and the ammo weight. But overall, very good sniper rifle, very good at its specific purpose, top of the line. I'm probably just gonna put it in S tier. Yeah, probably just an S tier one. Doesn't really have any visible downsides other than the ammo, but doesn't really suffer from it in any sort of way. I'm pretty sure this thing used to have nerf damage, but it deals a ton of damage now. It deals as much damage as you think it does. So yeah, it's gonna go there. The Walther Way WA 2000. I haven't really used this one that much. I'll be honest, this is one of the ones you get from Nimble. Apparently, you only have a 6 magazine size for it, which is interesting. Doesn't really do sniper rifle damage, which is a bit sad. It's semi-automatic. Like this is a weirdo one, man. This is a weird freaking gun. Okay. Yeah, this is a weird gun. Adjustable sight right from the get-go, which is not too bad. You can put suppressor on it. The upgrades, not bad. But it has nice accuracy. The problem is that no, it deals the same damage as the other 760 by 51. This is a weird one. Like it is pretty good. Apart from the fact that it looks terrible, it is pretty good. I mean, semi-automatic for a 6 magazine size with good accuracy. I kind of just have to give it the same rating I gave the L96, except a bit better. Yeah, except just a tiny bit better. So the L96 I give it like what, an A or something. This one probably gonna get uh, probably an A plus. I'd give it an S minus, but the ammo and the fact that it's only semi-automatic and still kind of heavy for the amount of accuracy and damage that it deals is gonna put it down to an A plus. So yeah, interesting one. Up next, and we're getting kind of close to the end, is going to be the Carabiner 98 Kurtz. So this one, you can use it like this, or you can put a scope on it. You can put the ZF41 scope. So I'm not sure which one it is. There's two of them, so I'm just going to get both. And yeah, you can use it. This scope is locked at 2 times, so it's really not a very versatile scope whatsoever. So this is more of like a short range precision rifle. This is not a sniper rifle. It's a precision one. And it doesn't have amazing accuracy, but it has really good damage. This deals more damage than the 7.62 by 54 counterpart in the Mosin Nagant does. It's also pretty light, and one thing you can do with it is to change the caliber to 7.62 by 39. And when you change the caliber to 7.62 by 39, you're firing very cheap, very light ammo. You're firing AK ammo out of a gun that's still gonna deal the same amount of damage that it does firing Mauser rounds. Meaning that this becomes one of the most cost efficient weapons in Stalker Anomaly because you're firing super cheap ammo for a ton of damage. Now, the downsides that it obviously has are the fact that the reload is like this. It's one by one. It takes a pretty big amount of time. So it doesn't reload that quick. So you definitely have to play into that sort of style. Of course, the scope isn't adjustable and it doesn't go any further than 2 times. So that can be a bit of a problem. Another thing that it has that it's a bolt action, so it's not going to have good DPS. It draws in and out kind of quickly, well, pretty quickly. Yeah, that's fine. And it is also relatively accurate for the pretty accurate, yeah, with the upgrades, especially for the amount of weight that it is. So overall, bolt action, 5 magazine size. Um, if you count it just for firing the Mauser rounds, it's gonna have to be a lot worse because these rounds are very rare, and really the only people you can get them from are either Freedom or Loners. You can't really get them from anywhere else with any sort of ease. So really, Freedom and Loners are gonna be the best ones to do this with. But if you don't use it like that and use it with 760 by 39, it's going to be very cost efficient, very light, just a really nice gun. I feel I particularly enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. And say that if you are counting the upgrades, which I am, you probably put it up to being a S minus rifle because it can't quite be S because it doesn't have the accuracy, it doesn't have the scope, it doesn't have the semi-automatic or the magazine size, but it has the weight, it has that economic power, and it has more damage than the other sniper rifles that do 7.62 by 54. So it is going to be at S minus. Very good. All right. Up next, we have the Sako TRG-42. So the way you should look at this is basically the Barrett M98 Bravo, except it's lighter and slightly less good. The upgrades on it aren't as good, the accuracy on it isn't as good, it doesn't feel as nice to use, the scope isn't as nice, but it's lighter. That's what it has going for it. It's lighter. Overall, I don't particularly enjoy this gun, but I have to admit, it's still a very good sniper rifle. It definitely is a very good sniper rifle. It looks a bit odd, but it's a very good sniper rifle, and you should be scared of it for sure. It's also very rare to get. I think I've seen one guy drop this once, and I've bought it from the mercs. Really, I haven't seen it anywhere else. It's kind of funny. But yeah, it's gonna go into pretty much the same tier the M98 Bravo did. Oh, is that an mission? No, that's a bit unfortunate. Wait, I'm in god mode. Hang on, I can... what can I do? Can't I make myself... Yeah, I'm god mode. Oh, it's a side storm. Alright. It says demo there. I don't know why it says demo. Okay. I don't have to use this anymore, do I? Oh, no, I do. Looks a bit dark now, but I mean, that's gonna be fine. Here I am, just trying to showcase some weapons. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in S tier, which is where I put the other one, right? I didn't put it in S plus, I don't think. So yeah, it's gonna go into S tier. Now, the SR25. This is a very interesting rifle because it just look at the stats. They're all so freaking high. They're all above 75%. The accuracy on it isn't sniper rifle accuracy, but oh no, it's gonna do the sounds. Hang on. Uh, oh shit, it is on. All right, there you go. Stopped. And let's turn off gun mode. All right, good, better. So yeah, where was I? The stoner rifle. It doesn't have sniper rifle accuracy. It has AR accuracy, right? So that's a problem. It's fine on the handling, amazing damage, and amazing fire rate. So really, what it has going for it is really just that fire rate plus the damage. Because like this fires like an AK or like well, not an AK, but this fires like a Scar would, but it deals way more damage than a Scar. It deals sniper rifle damage. Also reloads super quick, goes away, comes back quick, feels good to use. So what are the downsides? Lightweight. What are the downsides though? The accuracy. The accuracy is lacking. This is not sniper rifle accuracy, even though they try to push it as a sniper rifle. And you definitely have the scope to make it a sniper rifle. It is not sniper rifle accuracy. You don't get good enough upgrades on it to make it sniper rifle accuracy. It's it's gonna miss a few shots that you don't want it to miss. Another thing that it does is that the shots drop off because this is not a sniper rifle. This is an assault rifle that's trying to be a sniper rifle. So the shots are gonna drop off more than they would using a normal sniper rifle. It doesn't have that much flatness, even with the upgrades. So it's gonna be a bit sad on that front. But it still has all the other stats that it does. So I'm gonna have to give it an S minus. It's a pretty good weapon. All right. Up next, we have the OTS 03 SVU and the OTS 03 SVU alternate. So, and the OTS 03A SVU-A, which is the automatic version. So these weapons are actually freaking awesome. I kid you not, they're awesome. This is what if you did an SVD, but you did it right. You know, that's kind of just how it goes. An SVD, but you did it right. So you can put, you can't put a suppressor on it. Yeah, you can't put a suppressor on it, but you can put those assault rifle scopes on it. And in terms of how it works, it's basically has the same stats as an SV98 would, except it's semi-automatic and is also very controllable on the recoil. So it's like a SV98 that is lighter and semi-automatic, which is very freaking good, really. And it fires this cheap and very powerful ammo that is the 762 by 54, with good options as well on the AP versions. So really, the only thing that's stopping this from being an S plus weapon is the scope, because you have to use the assault rifle scopes. You can't use any of the sniper rifle scopes that the other ones have built into them. So really, if it weren't for that, this would be an S plus weapon. But because of that scope, it's just an S tier weapon. And the alternate one is slightly better uh, than the other one because it has a bit more accuracy. The upgrades on it are fine. They're not that special if I remember correctly, but they're fine. Yeah, they're pretty fine. It's just light. It's just good. Just awesome. Yes, weapon. Okay, up next. Up next we have, oh right, the SVUA, trash. Sadly, it's gonna go into like freaking the Galil category here. No, better than Galil. Probably even a bit better than Scar because of the accuracy that it still has, but it being automatic doesn't help you at all. Like, who cares about this when you could just do this? You know, in just normal mode. I mean, sure, that was a bit faster than it would have been normally, but it's about as fast. About as fast. Like, let me use this, and let me reload it. Let me detach the scope, and we're gonna see how fast it is. Oh, it's a tiny bit slower on the sniper rifle. Like, having it semi-automatic is already way more than enough than you need on a sniper rifle like this. Even if you're trying to use it to wipe out people that are not sniper rifle distance away, you shoot the sky, you double tap the sky, and you're on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. You don't need any more than this. But the damage is good because it means you can go for crotch shots. You don't have to go for headshots, which this one forces you to do. You can go for crotch shots, you can hit them twice, you can kill pretty much anything very quickly, very easily as well. Very nice weapon. Well, this one just straight downgrade. It's gonna have to go to like A plus because it's a straight downgrade. So yeah. Up next, the Carabiner 43. So this is basically the SVT 40 of the Mosin Nagant. So the Carabiner 43 has the built-in scope, and I believe it is a 3.5 times scope, like the Mosin one. It looks a bit weird, but it's good. It is pretty good. Like, it fires at semi-automatic. It sounds good. It looks weird. It looks weird, but I mean, that's what the Gewehr 43 looks. It looks weird by default. And it does less damage, but this is pretty good as a headhunter kind of rifle, you know? Like, pretty darn good as a... Actually, does it have 3.5 times? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure how good that scope is. Oh, let me check. Let me check that real quick. Let's get the mouse and then here with its scope. Just so I make sure that I'm not tripping here. So let's see. This aims in like this. Wait, hang on. Okay, so I catch the entire barrel of the T72. With this, I catch. Oh, I catch more. Okay. So what aim is this? Is it just 2.0? Is it really? It might be just 2.0, not 3.5. Wow. Okay, it's a bit saddening. But yeah, it's you can do the same trick with it. Wait, you can't? Oh, okay, this is trash. No, you can only fire Mauser ammo on it. Then, no, that explains why I haven't really used this weapon at all. Yeah, I can only fire Mauser ammo on it, which is pretty rare. Kind of expensive for the rarity. Uh, not great, not terrible either, but decent accuracy. But you're not really gonna get many upgrades on it. It's just kind of A minus. Yeah, kind of A minus. Just the damage is kind of low, but the fire rate's good. You know, the fire rate's good, the weight is good. It's just that the accuracy is not that great, and the ammo, yeah, the ammo is, the handling on it isn't that amazing either. The scope on it's not that amazing. So yeah, it's gonna go into A minus. Okay, up next. We are gonna have to use the Mosin eventually, but I'm not sure if this is the time yet. No, not yet. Up next is the Gauss rifle, but we're gonna do the Mosin first. Alright, time for the Mosin. So Mosin, best weapon anomaly, right? I mean, it's gotta be. Has a 3.5 times scope, very reliable ammo, very reliable gun, does some pretty good damage, and bolt action, it reloads the 5 rounds at the same time using a clip, not a magazine, a clip and feels nice to use, kind of like the Car 98K, except it's a bit more straightforward with the reload that it has. Always reloads 5, and it has more of an intermediate scope between just that 2 times and having a better scope like on the SV98. Very cheap to get, but overall worse accuracy, but it is kind of light. But yeah, this is definitely no SV98. Yeah, you're gonna want to replace it eventually by the SV98 or even some better sniper rifle. So overall, considering the okay scope, considering the slightly bad accuracy, considering the bolt action fire rate, it's gonna go into eh, probably S minus. Yeah, probably S minus. Probably S minus. I'd put it an S, but the accuracy is kind of holding it back a bit. If it had just a tiny bit more accuracy, I would consider that the weight counters the scope significantly, and I would say that it wouldn't be S minus, but it's not amazing on the accuracy. It's gonna miss a few times. Like you're definitely gonna feel that it's not an SV98 when you're trying to aim it for really far away. So yeah, it's gonna go into S minus. Okay, up next we have the Gauss rifle and the item number 62. So these are, just the zone weapons, right? So the monolith weapons, the fire, the batteries. So this thing is gonna one shot pretty much anyone and anything, even a chimera. This thing one shots a chimera, which is huge value. I mean, huge value. One shotting a freaking chimera. You two shot a pseudo giant, not even having to hit it in the eye. You can just hit it in its torso and you two shot it. You one shot just about any stalker, even if you fire at them in the leg, you're gonna one shot them because the ammo for it has 5 pen, which is, yeah, it goes through anything and just completely shreds it. The problems with, yeah, and it does a crap ton of damage. It has pretty much infinite accuracy. You're never gonna mess with it, and it has a pretty nice scope. It's not amazing because the scope is kind of weird in terms of its look, but you zoom in and zoom out pretty good. It goes pretty far, but it does occupy like a ton of the screen. It has the red hue to it, so it's not a perfect scope. I'd say not a perfect scope. But yeah, the biggest downsides of this weapon are obviously the weight, just humongous amount of weight, and the fact that it's not a bolt action, but it's kind of like a bolt action, a bit worse on the fire rate, and the fact that it fires batteries, which are gonna have very, very well, they're gonna be very hard to find. The only faction you can buy them with are Monolith or Sin if you're friends with Monolith. Uh, So, very limited ammo, unless you want to dupe it by using companions and using your fire at will and do not engage trick. If you want to dupe it that way, then you can do that and just have infinite ammo for it without using God mode. So you can do that, but overall, I would say this weapon is kind of just like a one pump chump, really. You use it while you have the ammo, then you drop it and you forget about it for a very good amount of time. So it's not a rifle that you're just gonna have constantly. Even if you stack up a ton of ammo for it, even if you stack up like 300, you're gonna run out. Eventually, after enough missions, you're gonna run out because almost no one is using this. There's like one monolith for every 150 using the cipher and giving you some ammo for it. And even then, he's only going to give you like 10, maybe 17 if you're lucky. So yeah, overall, um, most damage, most accuracy. So best sniper rifle, right? Yeah, it's gonna have to go into A plus because its downsides are so downside E that I really can't put this in as an S tier weapon because you're not even going to get to keep it. All right, you're not even going to get to use it that often. So the SKS and the SKS Modern, they're both going to go into B plus tier because they really don't deserve the A tier. Like these weapons are meh. They just feel meh because you just have better options for 762 by 39, such as the other ones with the upgrades that I mentioned. Because you can give the Mosin Nagant. I forgot to mention this. I should have mentioned it. Maybe it's an S tier weapon. Uh, no, I still put it as S minus, but yeah. You can give it the upgrade that you can give to the Carney 98K to also make it fire 760 by 39, and it's still going to do most of the gun damage, which is going to be less than the Car 98K damage, but it's still very, very, very significant amounts. Still a very powerful shot that's firing 760 by 39 very efficiently, very economically. So you can do that, or you can use an SKS, which you only have 10 rounds of, and it's semi-automatic. You put a PU scope on it, which is the same thing, but it has bad accuracy. Worse accuracy. and it deals, decent damage. It's kind of like an AK-47, except you can have a scope on it. And I mean, IRL, the weapon's awesome, right? But in Anomaly, there's just so much better stuff than this is. So it's really the scope on it is good, and if you don't have anything better, this definitely feels good to have. So I'm gonna put it into a B plus. But yeah, it's not that amazing. Now the SVT-40 is then what they put is an S minus or S. I can't remember. I think I put it in as S minus, right? Because of the bolt action and the scope. Did I put it as S? I can't remember too well, but yeah. The SVT-40 is pretty much in the exact same category because it's going to sacrifice some of this damage. It can get the upgrade as well. The SVT-40 can also get the upgrade that the Muslim account could, but it's going to be a semi-automatic weapon with the upgrade, still using this very cool scope. So you can fire a lot more ammo with it, and you can reload it way better as well, because you can do it like this. So it's the same reload animation as the SVD, which not good, but it's not an SVD. It's an SVT-40, uh, which is gonna have the bonuses that the SVD isn't gonna have, which means it draws a lot better. Definitely doesn't draw Mills quick. It draws a bit worse, but it still draws a lot better, and it can be upgraded to Fire 762 by 39 while keeping the same amount of damage, and it feels pretty nice to use and just go target to target. Of course, it's not as good as an OTS SVU. It's not as good as an SR25 because you can't adjust the scope either, but it's still a good weapon, very good weapon, which is why it's going to go into S minus. All right, up next. We're done with the sniper rifles at last, so we're gonna go into the explosives. I'm gonna count the grenades as well. Yeah, I'm gonna count the grenades as well. So the RPG-7. So big problem with the RPG-7 is the fact that it doesn't let you run, right? Doesn't let you run. You can, okay, not drop it, that's not what I meant to do. You can holster it and then you can run, so that's good, but then you have to do this again. Another big problem with it is the fact that the ammo for it is heavy, 2 kilograms each. And the thing itself is heavy too, 6.3. So yeah, it takes not too long to reload, honestly. But when this thing hits, oh man, it freaking hits. It slaps. Like, this can kill a bunch of targets in one hit. Of course, it's not too accurate. You're gonna have a hard time getting the shot going where you want it. Exactly where you want it, that is. But if you can make it work, then man, this thing feels good. I'm gonna fire it there. Sounds good, feels good, deals a ton of damage, and if you find the ammo for it, or buy the ammo for it, which is expensive, but not insanely expensive considering the amount of value you can get out of it, it's nice. It's a nice weapon. Pretty nice weapon. You're usually, you have to go for a specific playstyle to kind of use this. You're normally not gonna use it, but overall, in terms of how it feels for weight and damage, and I'm gonna have to put it in probably A tier. I mean, I don't really like the playstyle with it too much. I've used it before. It feels very overkill unless you're going for like a mission in the radar or Pripyat. That's really the only situations where I think using this over any other weapon would be would be justifiable. But yeah, A tier. So the M79, I'm gonna have to be honest with you and say that I have never even used it, so I don't know what it does. But let's evaluate it together, right? So apparently you can put one round in it, you aim it, you fire it. Oh no, did I hit you? There's no way I did. No, you'd be mad, so I didn't. So yeah, I might as well turn on God mode just in case, just in case I did hit. Let's see, the ammo for it is the M209 grenades. So you reload it. Doesn't seem to take too long. It's pretty good. How much does it weigh? Yeah, it's pretty good. Seems a bit inaccurate, honestly. Seems a bit inaccurate. Let's try aiming it somewhere a bit more specific, like the box. Close to the box. Oh, good enough. Good enough. How much does it weigh? 2.7. That's pretty cheap. I mean, that's pretty low. So yeah, I would say this is not terrible. You can maybe just bring it with you rather than bringing a grenade launcher on the weapon upgrade, or rather a weapon attachment if you want to do it that way. Though I personally wouldn't recommend it, but I mean, I could see that. I could definitely see this getting some use. It's just a bit unconventional, so I'm gonna have to give it probably an A tier, maybe even A plus. No, it doesn't have that good accuracy, so I'm gonna give it an A tier because it definitely feels good to use. I can see it being powerful, and those grenades are good. Yeah, those grenades are good. So make no exception. So the RG6, I've used this like once, but I didn't really use it too much. You can fire 6 rounds of it. Has a revolver. Seems pretty accurate. I'm gonna unload it and try to reload it. Okay. 1, 2. Seems you do it one by one. And okay, we're done. And we can fire it again. Pretty accurate. Oh, very fast shots. So yeah, it looks like this thing just goes ham on it. Alright, looks like this thing just goes ham on it. Pretty heavy. But honestly, this might just be better to bring than this. Except this is going to be more cost effective than this is going to be because those grenades are heavy, expensive as hell for what they do. You mostly just find them and use them. You don't really buy grenades. Yeah, but you can buy the OG7 warheads. You can buy those. They're not that expensive. But yeah, this thing is heavy as hell. Um, I'm gonna put it in A tier because it definitely does its job, but it's so heavy, and the ammo for it is kind of, it's gonna be rough to get. It's gonna be expensive to get. And you can just use the grenades normally rather than having this weighing you 6.2. So yeah, there's that. Okay, the F1 grenade is an interesting grenade because it's supposedly the best one. It's a defensive hand grenade, which means it has all those fragments that explode. Uh, and what it does is that it's way too heavy, but it has a very high blast power. It's gonna have those fragments that go everywhere. It's a good grenade. It's a good grenade, but it doesn't have that much. It doesn't have as much like blast power as this does. It doesn't have as much blast power as a thermite grenade, but it's still a good amount of blast power. It's going to do more damage than the RGD5, and the only downside that it really has is the weight, which is 0.6. It's really its biggest downside. So overall, I'm gonna rank the RGD5 first. Very low weight, very decent damage. You can arc them. You can arc grenades pretty well. If you're good at grenades, you can use them to take out 3 stalkers at once. Use them to take out a stalker in a position that you normally wouldn't be able to take them out. They're easy to carry. They're easy to get. You can sell them, but you're better off using them. Overall, grenades are Um, you're pretty much always gonna have at least 1 or 2 grenades. So they feel awesome. They feel awesome. I'm gonna say they're probably just S. Just S tier. Just pure S tier. The RGD5 grenades are probably just pure S tier. Like they feel awesome to have. They feel great to use if you know how to use them and you can use them well. RGD5 grenades are great. The F1 grenades, because they double in weight but don't double in use, they're gonna go up to they're gonna go up down to A plus. Yeah, they're gonna go down to A plus. Still great, but not quite at the S tier anymore. Thermite grenades are gonna be S plus tier. These grenades are awesome. They're bangers. They weigh even less. And even though it says their blast power is medium and their blast radius is not that much better, man, believe me, these things do. It's basically a nuke. This thing that you're dropping. This is gonna whatever you drop this on, it's gonna pretty much one-shot it, unless it's a Chimera or a Pseudo Giant. It's gonna pretty much one-shot it if you get it close. If you get it relatively close, it's still gonna do a ton of damage. Like this thing goes crazy with that explosive power. Like it's wild how much damage this thing freaking does, which makes sense because this is like dropping a massive burner on something. Like burner that explodes. It's not even just a burner that burns, it's a burner that explodes into burning. It's just awesome. Just awesome. Just goes through anything, just melts it. And they're super light. Look at that, 0.2. Like, oh, just awesome. S plus. Complete S plus. And then we have the smoke grenade, which I mean you can't get these other than buying them, and they're not that expensive. Actually, I've checked; they're not that expensive. They only cost you like 600 or something at max difficulty, but they're so pointless. Like, okay, when am I ever gonna use a smoke grenade? Let's say that I'm in here. I want to get through this guy, and I want to go over there. I'm over here. If I really want to go through this guy, I'm gonna go around. But if let's say I don't want to go around, I dropped a grenade there. He hears the grenade. He's immediately gonna be pissed, even though it's a smoke grenade. So you know it's already a problem. He's gonna be looking at it. And okay, I'm hidden. Right, I'm hidden. I'm not entirely sure if you're entirely hidden from enemies, but you know you're going through. You're going through. You're not running, so they can't see you. And boom, it's gone already. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Doesn't last long enough. Doesn't do enough. Um, it had to be more like grenades in like Call of Duty 2 or something, where they're way bigger, last way longer, easier to use, don't annoy the enemies like they do here.
Да, ты знатный болтун.
Sadly, this one is just not that good, so I'm gonna have to put it in like B minus tier, like very niche, not useful, very meh. Not a good weapon. I'm gonna rate the attachments. Fuck it. Okay. The PSO1M scope,
Что скажешь, брат?
awesome. Kinda low weight. Really just good. Really just a very good attachment. Goes on a ton of stuff. Just one that once you get it, you're gonna keep it and you're gonna hope that you have at least one. PSO1M21 scope goes on some weapons that this one doesn't. It's supposedly a bit better, but it just feels the same. Generally, same weight. That's fine. The GP25 grenade launcher, very good, very accurate for what it is, and the grenades freaking hurt. Kind of heavy, of course, because it's a grenade launcher, but it's worthwhile if you want to do the grenade launcher stuff. This one, same thing, really, same thing, and they're both very expensive, meaning that you can sell them for a good price, so that's good. And this one's the same. The ZF4 scope only has a 2 times modification, but weighs 0.4, which is kind of big for a scope that's this shitty. But yeah, not terrible. The Galil scope weighs less than the PSO1. It doesn't feel bad. I mean, I might as well show it to you because I imagine you haven't seen the Galil scope because it's kind of rare. So I might as well bring out the Galil. So let's bring it out. Let's summon it, which it should be. What the hell is it? Where the fuck did the Galil go? Uh, there's, let's. Oh, I didn't get the scope. Let's get the Galil scope on it so you can see how it looks. It looks pretty interesting. I mean, it's not bad. It actually looks better than I remembered. I might have been confusing it with the growth sight. Yeah, it looks better than I remembered. It actually looks pretty good. It's gonna be bad at night because you're not gonna be able to see that dot. But you know, it's fine. So yeah. Oh, am I tearing them? Oh, I wasn't tearing them. I was just saying if they're good. PSO1M scope, S minus, A plus, A plus, B plus, S minus. The tulip scope is too heavy, and it's that scope, which I'm gonna have to grab another gun to show it, but it's that one scope that makes it so you look at it from above. Oh my god, why am I not getting the scope? The target, the scope is from above, you know. So the way you have to do it is you have to put it above the head like this, to then fire it. It's very, very awkward to use this, unlike a VSS Venturez. I did that a fair bit for Invictus Plus Plus, and man, it was awkward. Really freaking awkward, but once you get the hang of it, it feels just like any other scope, and it actually feels kind of cozy. You end up liking it. You end up liking it. But yeah, really the only downside, the only big downside it has is the weight, so I'm gonna put it at A. A feels nice. The OTS scope is very light for what it is, but it kind of looks bad. Not too different from the Galil scope, but again, you're not going to be able to see it at night, so I'm going to give it just probably A minus. But no, although the weight makes it good, I'm going to give it A plus. Yeah. Binoculars. Are they a weapon? I feel like this is more like equipment than a weapon, so I'm not going to do that. Suppressor, I don't think I've ever seen this one being actually in the game, so I don't think it is. 0.7, very heavy. Very heavy. Wait, isn't this in the game? Oh no, you put it on the 9A91. And I think that's the gear weapon or whatever. So this is 0.7 is pretty heavy for a suppressor, but it's very high, kind of necessary to use with those subsonic weapons. It's going to be very helpful. So this is probably just going to go into like A plus. The ATG she used for 5.56 and 7.62. Oh, I hate this one. Pretty heavy, and those weapons kind of usually don't want it. So I'm gonna put it in A minus. Gemtech, way too big. Weapons that use the Gemtech are like really sad because you want to use the Glock, but you don't really use suppressor on it because the Gemtech suppressor freaking sucks. So I end up not using it. So yeah, I'm gonna put it as B. It's very meh. It's just too heavy. Just too heavy. The electro sight is the one that has a little dot in the middle of it. It's a collimator. It doesn't zoom in. It's not that heavy. It's very good for selling. Honestly, I'm very happy when I get it because it's very good for selling. I'm just gonna put it in A minus in terms of actual use because you don't actually use it all that much. You can put it on the SIG and it feels kind of funny, but that's about it. Or on the other 5.56 weapons, I guess. PVS4 suppressor, way too heavy, and it works for trash rifles, so that sucks, B minus. SR25 suppressor, you have no idea how rare this thing is. You can't buy it from anyone. The only way you can get it is by finding a guy that's using the SR25 that isn't a technician or a medic, which there is one surgeon uses this weapon, and that has both the SR25 and the suppressor. Super rare. Getting the suppressor is so hard, you have no idea. But once you actually get it, it's pretty good. It's not too heavy, and it works well. So I'm gonna give it A plus. S minus. A TPGA suppressor, way too heavy. Not a good suppressor either, but still necessary for the weapons I use it in, so I'm gonna put it A tier. SR3M suppressor, kind of heavy. A minus. I, I haven't seen that one. Right? No, I haven't seen that one. The ACOG, very good. Pretty light for the kind of scope that it is at 3.5. Looks good, feels good on a lot of weapons. What's that? That doesn't even have a thing. Yeah, let me just bring out the just a good weapon that goes along with it. So say that this SIG, you put the ACOG on it, which I'm pretty sure we've seen already, right? But yeah, you put the ACOG on it, and boom, now you have a very good uh, mid-range rifle going on for you, which should be hitting those. There you go, that's better. I'm in God mode, you fool. You can't hit me. Oh, I have HP on. Oh yeah. It should be hitting those, but it wasn't. There we go. It's because it doesn't have the upgrades yet. Once you get the upgrades for the accuracy, it's going to be even better than that. But Yeah, that is how it is. Okay, hopefully you guys don't get mad at me because I don't want to have to kill everyone in the duty base. Or rather in the freedom base. But yeah, ACOG, very good. S tier, because of the weight as well. See more tactical sight, super rare. Not good. Generally not good. It doesn't feel good. I mean, you use it for the M14, if I remember correctly. Where is it? Should be in rifle. You use it for pretty much only this. I mean, yeah, it has that red thing on it. It doesn't look that good. It isn't that useful. It just feels like such a weird upgrade that they decided to put on. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's good that it exists, but it just looks weird. I'm gonna put it in like B tier, meh, because it's kind of like a collimator, but it's not as good as the EOTech. EOTech, not as good as the Cobra sight, which I haven't looked at yet, but that's next. I'm gonna put it in A minus. Cobra sight is gonna go into A plus. It looks very good. It doesn't weigh too much. It feels very nice to use. It makes some weapons like the Saiga just feel a lot better to use, especially in the dark. Because in the dark and during emissions, where it gets very shaky, because this thing is going to let you see where you're aiming, even while it's very dark and while it's very shaky. So it feels very nice to have, and it doesn't really impede on the screen too much. Very, very good one. So yeah, S minus. Next, we have the PU scope, very light, use it on the Mosin. For the amount of lightness it is, it's an S minus one. I haven't seen that one. 45 ACP suppressor, way too heavy. Same reasons as the Gemtech. It goes into B minus. 5.7 by 28, very rare that you're ever going to use this, but I mean, if you can use it, then I suppose it's good, so I'm going to put it in A tier. It's only 0.3. 9mm suppressor, very nice for the weapons that can actually use it, like the CC75. So I'm going to put it into S minus. I'm only going to put it to S minus because I mean it's only a 9mm suppressor. It's not that amazing of a thing to get. APS suppressor. You put it on the pistol, it's already like just going ha ta 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 ta. So it's not amazing. I'm just gonna have to say it's probably only gonna go into. It only weighs 0.2, but it's just the limited use that it has makes it only like an A minus thing. The KZRZP suppressor works only on the SVD, and I think on another similar rifle that you can get it as an extra attachment. It's a good one. It's a good one. It just suppresses. It doesn't weigh that much, so it's gonna go into A plus. Doesn't weigh that much. Nail suppressor definitely a lot better than the TGPA. It has better sound suppression. It has better weight as well. So nail suppressor is gonna go into A plus tier. And the PVS one suppressor, I feel like those weapons kind of don't want to be suppressed, and this sound suppression isn't that good. So I'm gonna put it into B plus tier only. And that's all the weapons done. Yeah. Only took me 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours, but that's all the weapons done. And we can see the amount of weapons there are here, right? That's a lot of weapons. Wait, I might as well make a fucking thumbnail here. Hang on. With all the weapons that I got going. So yeah, this. Wait, how do I zoom out more? I'm not sure if I can. Let's do it like this. Oh yeah, lots of weapons. I could, huh? Because like this, you can't really see the weapons too well on the ground. But let me turn off gold mode. And yeah, that's the idea here. These are all the weapons, and all of them have been rated appropriately and accurately, and tier list has definitely not gone on for way too freaking long in rating all of them. I hope that this was in some way either entertaining or helpful, despite my crackling voice, and I'll see you again another time. Cheers.